In college, the campus goddess, pregnant, comes to block the door. Qin Lang was dumped, and Su Shihan, the once-in-a-century academic goddess and campus beauty, came to the classroom to find him, telling him that he had become a father. It turns out that at last year's joint school event, a drunken Qin Lang had an encounter with Su Shihan. Now, as a university student with only a handsome face, how will Qin Lang support his wife and child? Chapter 001, The School Beauty Came to Find Me with a Big Belly. Qin Lang, it's over between us. Let's break up, Zhao Lulu suddenly declared excitedly, putting down her phone in the quiet classroom, ignoring the fact that it was a self-study session, and spoke to Qin Lang boldly. The classmates looked over in shock. In their eyes, Qin Lang and Zhao Lulu were a perfect couple, a handsome guy and a beautiful girl, their relationship sweet, often showing off their affection in public. They were the couple everyone loved to ship. But to everyone's surprise, Zhao Lulu was breaking up with Qin Lang in front of them. It was a huge shock. Why? Qin Lang was caught off guard. If I say it's because of personality clashes, different views on life, or that I don't love you anymore, you'd never believe it. Why do I need a reason to break up? I just want to break up. Oh, I guess you know my ex-girlfriend came back to look for me. Qin Lang asked in surprise. At that moment, Qin Lang was deeply shocked, even heartbroken and frantic. Damn it. This morning, she said she loved me the most, we kissed at noon, and now she suddenly wants to break up. What guy could handle this? But Qin Lang wasn't one to back down easily, so he immediately shot back. Of course, his ex-girlfriend didn't exist at all, he had only ever had Zhao Lulu as a girlfriend. He just said it to make Zhao Lulu crazy. After all 50 pairs of eyes in the class were on them. Zhao Lulu froze. Qin Lang's ex-girlfriend came back to look for him? Did that really happen? How come she didn't know about it? Damn it. She felt like the one being cheated on. She was about to take this lying down, so she shot back, it has nothing to do with your ex-girlfriend coming back. My first love has returned to the country and wants to get back together with me. You're just a substitute for my first love. As soon as she said this, the class was once again shocked by this explosive gossip. Some of the boys even felt a little better inside, so even the school heartthrob is just a substitute, a backup. Maybe I'm not the only backup anymore. Qin Lang sneered inwardly. Alright, I'm just a substitute, huh? Then let's hurt each other. With a calm smile, he said, oh, what a coincidence. I was heartbroken back then and going through a dry spell, you chased after me, and since you were pretty, I accepted it. Thank you for filling the void in my life. I feel like I can love again now. Zhao Lulu turned pale with anger. Qin Lang, someone else looking for you outside, a classmate sitting by the door suddenly shouted. As they spoke, the classmate gave Qin Lang an envious look. He was clearly thinking, old Qin, you just got dumped, and now a more beautiful girl comes looking for you. Lucky guy. Qin Lang didn't know who was looking for him, but at that moment, he didn't want to look at Zhao Lulu anymore. He stood up and left the classroom. Once outside, he saw a beautiful pregnant woman. When she saw him, her previously cold face immediately broke into a warm, radiant smile, like the sun breaking through the winter cold. Qin Lang, I finally found you. She ran towards Qin Lang with a smile, and when Qin Lang saw she was pregnant, he quickly said, wait, slow down. Don't get too excited, classmate. He couldn't remember ever meeting this stunning pregnant woman. Meanwhile, the classmates gathered around the door, gossiping and peeking at the even juicier gossip unfolding. Some recognized the beautiful pregnant woman. What the hell? Isn't that Su Shihan, the most beautiful campus goddess from the neighboring school, Zhonghai University? She is pregnant? And her belly is huge. But she is still so beautiful, her pregnancy just adds to her charm. Amazing. Look at that glow of motherhood on her face. She knows Qin Lang from our class. Could it be? Qin Lang immediately walked over to support the beautiful pregnant woman. Qin Lang, I finally found you, that's great. Now that the baby is coming, there will be a dad. This statement shocked everyone, including Qin Lang himself. Wow. Old Qin is hardcore. The baby in Su Shihan's belly really is his. Incredible. I'm so jealous of old Qin, he just got dumped by Zhao Lulu, and now a more beautiful, academic goddess shows up pregnant with his baby. I'm seriously jealous. I'm so envious, it's making me purple with jealousy. Qin Lang was stunned and said, "This must be a joke. I have no interest in becoming a dad, and I certainly don't have any experience with that. You should look for someone else." First, he didn't know Su Shihan. Second, he had never slept with Su Shihan. He was still a pure, crystal clear young man. How could he possibly make her pregnant, especially such a beautiful campus goddess? If it were him, he would definitely know. Su Shihan was much more beautiful than Zhao Lulu, with perfect features as if they were crafted by the goddess Nuer herself. Her skin was radiant, glowing and delicate, like a fresh peach. Perhaps due to her pregnancy, her skin looked even more luminous, with a healthy glow, making her more beautiful. Even so, he was a man with principles. He absolutely didn't want to become a father. The classmates were stunned. Damn. Qin Lang is truly something else, rejecting a beautiful campus goddess's offer to be a father. With a goddess like her, I'd be happy to take the job. Let me take her last name if I have to. You ultimate simp, with that ugly face of yours, keep dreaming. The beautiful pregnant woman handed Qin Lang a photo. Qin Lang, this is a photo of us that night. Qin Lang looked at the photo. It only showed their faces, but it was clear they were lying on a hotel bed, with Su Shihan taking a selfie. His head suddenly exploded with confusion. He suddenly remembered that one time at a social event between two schools, he had gotten drunk. The next morning, he woke up in a hotel bed. When he woke up, he found he was alone in the room. Although there was a stain on the sheets that looked like fresh blood, he didn't think much of it, assuming it was left by a previous guest. What he didn't expect was that he had actually slept with Su Shihan, the campus goddess from Zhonghai University, that night. And he had taken her virginity. Ding. Triggering event, host encounters the mother of the child, Su Shihan. The baby in Su Shihan's belly belongs to their host. Congratulations on triggering the daddy system. System connection in progress. Connection complete. Detection shows the baby in the mother's belly is greeting their host. Host, by touching Su Shihan's belly to respond to the baby, you can earn a 20,000 renminbi reward. Hearing the voice in his mind, Qin Lang, who usually only read novels when he wasn't focusing on his studies or relationships, was extremely familiar with systems in stories. In novels, systems always belong to the protagonists. He never expected that one day, he would get a system himself. Awesome. But at this moment, he wasn't concerned with the system's rewards. Instead, he focused seriously on Su Shihan's large belly. Inside her was his child. He was really going to be a dad. And the system had detected the baby was greeting him. Could it be that the baby recognized him as the dad right away? The power of blood ties was truly amazing. This feeling was so surreal. He didn't even know how to describe it. He immediately put down the photo, then softened his previously rejecting attitude, gazing gently at Su Shihan. He spoke softly, "This is indeed my child. I'm going to be a dad. Shihan, let me touch them." With that, Qin Lang placed his hand on Su Shihan's belly. Then, he felt something kick him gently. He also felt something softly tap his palm. Was this the way a new dad communicates with his baby? So magical, so mysterious. This feeling, indescribable. It was wonderful. Happy. His lips couldn't help but curve into a smile. The healing power was extraordinary. Chapter 002, Triplets. Ding. Congratulations, host. You've interacted with Su Shihan's belly and completed a communication with the babies, earning a reward of 20,000 yuan. The 20,000 yuan has been credited to their host's bank account, and the source of the funds is secure. Hearing the system's voice, Qin Lang realized that interacting with the babies would give him a reward. He took out his phone, and a text message from the bank popped up on the screen, showing that 20,000 yuan had been deposited. To confirm that the system wasn't just pulling a prank on him, Qin Lang cautiously opened the bank app and checked the balance. Sure enough, the extra 20,000 yuan was there. The transaction details showed that the money came from an overseas fund organization. At that moment, Qin Lang felt ecstatic. He really had a system. And it was one that could easily make money. Har har, with a system, a child, and a beautiful campus goddess as his wife, this was the kind of good luck that had fallen directly into his lap. Qin Lang must be the chosen one. He was thrilled. He turned to Su Shihan with a smile, then remembered the system had mentioned babies. He asked, System, when you say babies, does that mean Su Shihan isn't he carrying just one baby? Yes, it's triplets. Triplets. Qin Lang almost exclaimed in surprise. What an incredible turn of events. Triplets. With the current policies encouraging a third child, other families would have to go through multiple pregnancies to have 3 kids. Yet he, Qin Lang, had managed to get 3 babies at once. How lucky was that? Su Shihan, I came to find you because, well, I've run out of money. And since I'm about to give birth, I need to prepare a lot of things for the babies, so, Su Shihan began, rubbing her belly and hesitating as she looked at Qin Lang. She spoke so softly that even the students who were eavesdropping by the door couldn't hear her. She wanted to ask Qin Lang for money, because all the friends who could lend her money had already done so. And her parents. She couldn't bring herself to tell them she was pregnant. She was afraid they'd kill her. At the beginning of her pregnancy, she tried doing some handcrafts to earn a little money, but as the pregnancy progressed, the nausea and fetal movements became stronger, and she couldn't continue. Most of the time, she was bedridden. Because her belly was so large with triplets, she couldn't even see her own feet. She couldn't live in a dorm anymore, so she rented a place outside. The expenses had piled up: rent, hiring a caretaker to help with her daily needs, and the prenatal checkups, which were expensive since she wasn't married and couldn't get the discounts on certain free checkups, so she had to pay out of pocket. She had already spent all her savings and borrowed as much as she could, even using her phone's credit and other lending platforms. She didn't know what to do anymore, so she had sought out Qin Lang. But now, standing in front of him, the words "borrow money" were stuck in her throat and she couldn't bring herself to say them. Qin Lang immediately grabbed Su Shihan's wrist and confidently said, I have money. What do you need to buy? Let us go get it. Just focus on giving birth to the babies. I'll take care of everything. With money in hand, Qin Lang was feeling generous. And when he saw Su Shihan's trembling eyelashes and her face about to cry, he felt a pang of heartache. Although he'd never been a dad before and had never thought about being one, seeing Su Shihan with such a huge belly made him realize how hard it must be for her. When he drank too much beer, his stomach would bloat, and he'd have to loosen his pants for comfort. He only felt a bit uncomfortable for a short time. But Su Shihan's belly was huge, and she needed to support herself with her hands to keep from falling over. And it wasn't just for 1 or 2 days, it was months of discomfort. He could only imagine how tough it must be for her. He gently placed one hand on Su Shihan's back and the other on her big belly. Let us go. We'll find somewhere to sit and talk. Okay. Su Shihan nodded, her eyes shining with tears, but she held them back. Qin Lang helped her walk, and the other students who were watching couldn't believe their eyes. Oh my god, Qin Lang really became a dad. The campus goddess babies are his. Qin Lang is something else. Both his ex-girlfriends are goddess-level beauties. So jealous. It looks like Zhao Lulu knew Su Shihan was pregnant with Qin Lang's child and couldn't hold onto him anymore, so she publicly broke up with him. Poor Zhao Lulu. Inside the classroom, Zhao Lulu was struggling with feelings of humiliation and frustration. She had never imagined that after breaking up with Qin Lang, he would end up with Su Shihan, the campus goddess, and become a dad. Her heart was aching, and the weight of the situation felt unbearable. She had thought she was in control, but now, she felt completely dumped. It was humiliating. Qin Lang and Su Shihan arrived at a quiet restaurant outside the school, around mealtime. Qin Lang chose a private room, helped Su Shihan sit down, and ordered food. Being from Hyun, he ordered spicy dishes, and now that he had money, he ordered everything he had always wanted to try: chicken, duck, fish, and seafood. It was all nutritious, and he hoped Su Shihan would feel better after eating. After ordering, he handed the menu to Su Shihan to let her choose. There's too much food. We won't be able to eat all of it. I'm ordering for you to build up your strength. Okay, I'll only order these. Seeing Su Shihan not ordering more, Qin Lang took the menu and said, I'll order some pig's feet for you. I heard they are great for women. Well, Qin Lang, I can't eat pig's feet. They are too fatty, and if I eat them now, it might lead to high blood fat during pregnancy, which isn't good for delivery. Qin Lang was surprised pregnant women had so many dietary restrictions. No pig's feet. Alright, no pig's feet then. What in the dishes I've already ordered can you not eat? We'll swap it out for something you can have. I can't eat too much at once, I need small meals throughout the day. The dishes you ordered are fine, you don't need to order more. Okay. Qin Lang called the waiter over to arrange the dishes. After the waiter left, Qin Lang drank some water and looked at the beautiful Su Shihan sitting across from him. When are you due? How are you planning to raise the kids after they are born? Chapter 003, Pain. Is she going into labor? There's still half a month until the due date. After the baby is born, I plan to raise them myself. Raise them yourself? You're carrying triplets. How are you going to handle raising 3 babies alone? Even though Qin Lang wasn't ready to be a father yet, hearing that Su Shihan was planning to raise the 3 babies alone made him uneasy. No matter what, these 3 babies were his flesh and blood, sharing his bloodline. He couldn't just sit idly by. Moreover, now that he had activated the dad system, he felt confident that he could handle raising both his baby mama and 3 babies. After all he had done was simply touch Su Shihan's belly and interact with the 3 babies, and he had already earned a reward of 20,000 yuan. He knew that more money could be made in the future. Su Shihan was first shocked that Qin Lang knew she was carrying triplets, then surprised by his tone. It sounded like he wasn't happy about her planning to raise the babies by herself. Was he worried that she wouldn't be able to take care of the babies? She blinked her eyelashes, her hands tightly clasped under the table, and softly said, I've hired a nanny, and I'm still young, so I can manage raising the babies. Qin Lang raised his hand as if to tap her forehead, but the girl reflexively shrank back. He couldn't hold back and stretched his whole arm over, but instead of tapping her forehead, he pinched her cheek. Her cheek was soft and smooth, glowing with maternal warmth, and pinching it felt so satisfying, bouncy and soft. He found himself a bit addicted to it. But he quickly controlled himself and pulled his hand back. What I mean is, as the father, I want to be involved in raising the babies too. Su Shihan froze for a moment, her large watery eyes stared at Qin Lang, as if she had never imagined Qin Lang would say something like that. Qin Lang looked at her cute, confused expression and couldn't help but pinch her little face again. He was really addicted. Are you surprised? Or are you planning on finding another dad for my 3 kids in the future? I absolutely disagree. I never thought of that. I didn't expect you to help me raise the kids. After all, you're only in your 2nd year of college. You're also in your 2nd year, Qin Lang replied. I. Qin Lang had already poured a glass of warm water and, with an imposing gesture, placed it in front of Su Shihan. What are you stuttering for? Drink the water. Su Shihan's long, curled eyelashes fluttered as Qin Lang's authoritative manner made her behave like a well-behaved girl. She obediently picked up the cup and drank. She was really a bit thirsty. Watching her drink so obediently, Qin Lang felt like this kind of life might be pretty good. He wasn't sure who their babies would look like, but as their dad, he was handsome, and Su Shihan was a rare beauty and campus goddess. No matter who they looked like, the babies would be cute. He also thought about the baby's intelligence. He glanced at Su Shihan, realizing that although his school and Su Shihan's university were close by, his was a 3rd-tier school, while hers was a prestigious 985-211 university. It was a huge difference. He had heard that a baby's intelligence follows the mother, so, great. The 3 babies would definitely be clever little geniuses and likely top students in elementary school. Good thing they took after the mother. With that thought, he found himself looking forward to the arrival of the 3 babies. The food arrived, and while eating, Qin Lang asked Su Shihan where she was living. Su Shihan ate delicately, like a cat, then put down her chopsticks and replied, I'm renting a place near our university, at Jiufan Community. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. I share a room with the nanny. Alright, we'll go to your place after eating. You rest for a bit, and once you're rested, we'll go shopping. Qin Lang nodded. Okay. 10 minutes later. Su Shihan put down her chopsticks. I'm full. Qin Lang looked at the pile of bones on his side, then at her nearly clean plate with barely touched food. He furrowed his brow. Eat a bit more. He immediately placed a chicken leg into her bowl. Su Shihan wanted to say something, but Qin Lang gave her a look, and she immediately lowered her head and began eating the chicken leg. That's when he finally relaxed and squinted his eyes. Su Shihan was really different from his ex, Zhao Lulu. Zhao Lulu, being a local girl from Zhonghai, was very demanding and loved controlling everything. She had a strong desire to dominate. When he was with Zhao Lulu, things were sweet, but he always felt like he couldn't fully express his masculinity. Now, with Su Shihan, he felt at ease, and his manly traits could fully be displayed. This was what a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship should be like. After eating, Qin Lang was full and satisfied. Having money meant he could afford to eat like this. Ever since he left home for college, he hadn't had such a good meal. Awesome. He called the waiter to get the check, but before he could, Su Shihan spoke first. Waiter, could you pack up the leftovers? Qin Lang had ordered so much food, 12 dishes, and many were barely touched, or had only a few bites left. Su Shihan didn't wanted to go to waste. Before she was pregnant, she never would have asked for a takeaway, but now, she knew how expensive things were, and with 3 babies coming soon, she had to start being more frugal. Qin Lang didn't mind at all. He immediately told the waiter, please bring extra takeaway boxes. Okay. The waiter politely agreed. As restaurant staff, they appreciated seeing customers respect food and not waste it. They supported takeaways without extra charge. After the food was packed, Qin Lang paid the bill, and the waiter left. Qin Lang stood up and said, let us go. Su Shihan was about to stand but placed one hand on her lower back and the other supporting her belly. Seeing this, Qin Lang quickly went over to help her. In his mind, he reminded himself, next time, when she needs to get up, he should be the one to assist her first. As he helped Su Shihan get up, she suddenly cried out in pain, it hurts. Where does it hurt? Qin Lang asked, panicking, as he had never encountered this kind of situation before. Is she going into labor? Wasn't the due date still half a month away? He vaguely remembered hearing that some babies were born early. Chapter 004, The amniotic fluid broke, it's really time to give birth. Qin Lang, my stomach hurts, I think I'm about to give birth. Are my water broke? Qin Lang looked at Su Shihan, who was trying to endure the pain, feeling both anxious and confused. Water broke. What is that? Ding. Congratulations, host. You will soon meet your babies. As a first-time father, the system rewards you with a maternity kit and a labor guide. The labor guide can be activated immediately, and the maternity kit will be delivered to the hospital where the babies will be born. Activate the labor guide. The system was a timely savior. This was exactly what he needed. In an instant, Qin Lang felt like his brain had been rebooted, and an influx of knowledge flooded in about amniotic fluid, Lemay's breathing techniques, pregnancy contractions, and more. With the labor guide, Qin Lang immediately felt more confident. Now he understood that the breaking of the water meant the babies were coming. He quickly called an ambulance, and while waiting for it to arrive, he gently reassured Su Shihan, Shihan, don't be afraid, I'm here with you. Su Shihan's pale face was covered in sweat, and she gripped Qin Lang's hand as if it were the only lifeline in a vast ocean. Although this was only their second meeting, perhaps because of the bond with the 3 babies inside her or because of Qin Lang's earlier words about raising the babies together, she instinctively relied on him at this moment. Multiple births are prone to preterm labor, but it's just the water breaking now, it's part of the normal process, don't worry. Let us do some deep breathing together to help ease the pain. Qin Lang's voice was steady, his palm warm and comforting. Su Shihan started to feel a little less nervous. She nodded gently. Following Qin Lang's lead, she practiced the breathing technique. After a few cycles, the pain seemed to lessen. She lifted her eyebrows slightly, weakly saying, I think it's really better. Qin Lang felt relieved and smiled as he gently patted her soft hair. Of course, with me here, everything will be fine. The ambulance arrived in 8 minutes, and Qin Lang accompanied Su Shihan to the hospital. Once they entered the lobby, a nurse said, we'll take the patient to the delivery room. Family members can go to the payment counter. I'll go, Su Shihan started to say she would call her mom for money for the delivery. But Qin Lang spoke first, Shihan, wait in the delivery room. I'll take care of the payment. I already ordered the maternity kit on the way here. I'll bring it up to you shortly. Just relax and focus on the delivery. You ordered the maternity kit. You're going to pay you. Don't worry, wait for me in the room. I'll be right up, Qin Lang smiled, his gaze full of assurance. As the nurses wheeled Su Shihan away, she looked back at Qin Lang, feeling a bit shocked. She had just come to find him today. The prematic birth had caught her completely off guard, but she didn't expect Qin Lang to be so well prepared in such a short time, even having the maternity kit ready. It seemed like he was even better than she had expected. Qin Lang went to the payment counter, deposited a 20,000 yuan advance, paid a 10,000 yuan deposit, and completed the necessary paperwork. At the same time, the delivery kit arrived, a big package that he easily carried. But he didn't go straight to the delivery room. Instead, he went to the stairwell and lit a cigarette. Surrounded by smoke, he glanced down at the maternity kit, a slight smile curling at the corners of his mouth. This feeling was incredible. He was about to meet his 3 babies. He was going to be a dad. The thought made Qin Lang's hand, holding the cigarette, tremble with excitement. After finishing his cigarette, Qin Lang rinsed his mouth in the bathroom and then took the maternity kit up to the delivery room. Su Shihan was already lying on the bed. Because of the contractions, her face had turned even paler, her forehead damp with sweat, making her look even more fragile. Qin Lang couldn't help but feel a pang of heartache. He walked over, took her hand, and smiled. "The paperwork is done, and I've brought the maternity kit. I'll be with you and the babies every step of the way." As soon as Su Shihan saw him, tears welled up in her eyes. The emotions of a pregnant woman were already very delicate, and with the pain she was feeling, she was even more vulnerable and sensitive. "Qin Lang, is preterm labor dangerous? Will the babies be okay? They've been with me for 8 months now, I'm worried about them. Qin Lang, if there are any risks during delivery, you must tell the doctor. The babies must be our first priority." Qin Lang couldn't help but laugh. He raised his hand to tap her on the head, but then pulled it back, lightly tapping her forehead instead. "Su Shihan, you're still thinking like that. The doctors these days can't make that kind of mistake, they'd be held legally accountable. And preterm labor with multiples is quite common. But it's still a month until the due date, I'm scared." Ding! System detected that the expectant mother's emotions are unstable. Their host can unlock tasks to increase the smooth delivery rate and ensure the safety of both the mother and the babies. Increase the smooth delivery rate. That's awesome. Qin Lang comforted Su Shihan with his words, but internally, he was anxious. Triplets were no small matter, especially with a preterm birth. The risks were huge. If he could guarantee a smooth delivery, he would finally be able to relax. Unlock it right now." Qin Lang followed the system's instructions and began to increase the delivery rate. "Congratulations, host, for completing the hand-holding interaction with the expectant mother, smooth delivery rate plus 20%. Congratulations, host, for completing the massage task for the expectant mother, smooth delivery rate plus 40%. Final task unlocked, teach the expectant mother the Lamaze breathing technique. Completing it will increase the smooth delivery rate to 100%. Lamaze breathing technique? He knew that. The system's labor guide included it. Qin Lang took out his phone and played some calming prenatal music, then looked at Su Shihan. "Shihan, I'm going to teach you a magical breathing technique. Once you master it, I guarantee the babies will be born safely and healthily." Su Shihan looked at him with curiosity and softly asked, "Is there really such a magical breathing technique?" "Of course. Let me show you. First, we start with chest breathing, then shallow breathing, followed by light breaths. Next, let us practice the candle blowing exercise. And finally, the last step when the babies come out safely and meet their mom." Su Shihan followed him seriously. When she realized the last step was just part of the breathing exercise for labor, she felt a bit more relaxed. The 2 nurses at the door watched this scene with envy in their eyes. This young couple has such a good relationship. The soon-to-be dad is really great. At this moment, he's with the mom, cheering her up and making her feel at ease. The expectant mom is so lucky. Su Shihan's emotions finally stabilized. Though the contractions grew more intense, she wasn't as fearful anymore. Looking at Qin Lang, she felt a sense of peace with him by her side. She suddenly spotted the big maternity kit. "Qin Lang, is that the maternity kit you prepared?" "Yes." With that, Qin Lang picked up the kit and began to show Su Shihan the contents. Chapter 005, It's happened. 1 boy and 2 girls. "I've packed everything you might need in the maternity bag, don't worry. There are baby bottles, formula, little clothes, absorbent towels, changing pads. And for you, I have cotton pajamas, paper straws, a thermos, postpartum pads, disposable toilet seat covers, toothbrushes and toothpaste for your recovery, cotton slippers. He introduced everything one by one, leaving Su Shihan stunned. In such a short time, Qin Lang managed to prepare so much? It was even more comprehensive than what she had planned back home. Su Shihan's eyes grew warm, overwhelmed with emotion. She was feeling particularly sensitive today, a common effect of pregnancy hormones. Not wanting to appear overly emotional in front of Qin Lang, she quickly sniffed and grabbed a small item that Qin Lang had neglected to explain, opening it curiously. "What is this?" she asked. The moment she read the label, Qin Lang's face immediately turned awkward. Su Shihan, without thinking, blurted out the label. "Disposable underwear." Her voice faltered, and her face instantly turned bright red. Holding the little packet like it was burning hot, she didn't know whether to throw it away or hold onto it. Qin Lang was the first to react, clearing his throat. "I followed the instructions from Baidu to prepare these, I thought you'd need them." Su Shihan, her face flushed, lowered her eyes like a little bird, and whispered, "Thank you, you really thought of everything." The small awkward moment was quickly overshadowed by another wave of contractions, and soon after, Su Shihan was wheeled into the delivery room. With the triplets, a C-section was inevitable and natural birth was almost impossible. Qin Lang could only wait outside the sterile delivery room. After more than an hour, Qin Lang remained by the operating room door, never moving. Although the system had assured him that both Su Shihan and the babies would be fine, he couldn't help but feel nervous. It was likely a common feeling among first-time fathers waiting for the birth, right? Other expectant fathers were also in the hallway, anxiously waiting. No one spoke, but their faces displayed similar expressions of nervous anticipation. Occasionally, someone would get up and pace by the operating room door before returning to their seat. Qin Lang found the atmosphere strange. As he stared at the delivery room door, a subtle excitement bubbled inside him at the thought of meeting the babies for the first time. An hour and a half later, the operating room door opened, and 3 nurses emerged, each holding a baby. Qin Lang immediately stood up, a powerful instinct telling him, these are his triplets. "Who is the family of Su Shihan?" one of the nurses called. I'm the father." Qin Lang's voice trembled, but no one mocked him. Everyone, including the nurses, looked at him with nothing but warmth and congratulations. "Mother and babies are safe. Congratulations, sir. You have a baby boy and 2 beautiful daughters. Wow, triplets. Having twin daughters is already a blessing, and now there's a son too. What a perfect family. Congratulations." Qin Lang smiled and turned to acknowledge the congratulations. "Thank you." At that moment, it felt like the world had faded away, and all that mattered was the 3 little treasures in the nurse's arms. The newborn babies were wrinkled and didn't resemble anyone clearly, but to Qin Lang, they were the most precious beings in the world. Wow tilde. Wow tilde, wow tilde. Wow tilde, wow tilde, wow tilde. The babies' cries rang out, each one louder than the last, as if they were greeting Qin Lang and saying, "Look, Dad. We're strong." "The babies are impatient and want their dad to hold them," one of the nurses laughed. Qin Lang hesitated, not daring to move. The babies were so tiny his muscles seemed too big to hold such fragile little bodies. He was confident in lifting weights, but holding such small babies made him nervous, afraid of hurting them. "Congratulations, host. You've met your babies for the first time. You've unlocked the basic dad skills, including how to hold babies, feed them, change diapers, and more. Awesome. This system is amazing." Just as Qin Lang was feeling lost, the system offered the perfect solution. After activating the skill, he suddenly felt confident. As he looked at the soft, adorable little babies in front of him, the proper holding techniques appeared in his mind. Immediately, he cradled the 3 little ones in his arms. They felt light, almost like little bundles, and were so soft and adorable. As soon as they were in his arms, they stopped crying, their little eyes still closed, but they seemed to focus on Qin Lang's face as if making eye contact with their dad for the first time. Qin Lang's heart melted at the sight. The babies are all healthy. The boy weighs 5 pounds, and the 2 girls are 4.5 pounds each. Though they were born early, they are 38 weeks along, so it's not considered premature. All their organs are fully developed, and they don't need to be put in the incubator. They can go straight to the room. Would the family like to join them? The nurse asked. Qin Lang, still focused on the babies, looked up, a smile on his face. No, I came alone. I'll wait for my wife here. She might feel down if she comes out and I'm not with her. The nurse's gaze softened even more. All right, we'll take good care of the babies. Your wife will be out soon. A few minutes later, Su Shihan was wheeled out. She looked weak after the delivery and immediately began scanning the room, even though she knew the babies had been born and Qin Lang would be with them. Still, she couldn't help but long to see a familiar face as soon as she left the operating room. Just as she was about to avert her gaze, a familiar figure appeared, almost like a shining star, blinding in its brightness. Shihan, you've worked hard, Qin Lang said gently, holding her hand. Su Shihan's face lit up, like the first ray of sunshine breaking through the clouds, and a bright smile immediately appeared. She shook her head slightly and weakly asked, Are the babies all right? Qin Lang nodded. They are doing great. The doctor said they are healthy. We have a son and 2 daughters. They are already in the room. We can see them soon. Back in the room, the baby's little stroller was next to the bed, but Qin Lang took care of Su Shihan first before pushing the babies over. Although he'd already seen the babies, seeing them again filled him with excitement. Shihan, the 2 girls are identical twins, and they look so cute. The boy is adorable too, but he is fraternal. Do you want to hold them? Su Shihan had already been told about the babies in the delivery room, but hearing Qin Lang describe them now brought an even warmer feeling to her heart. It felt so cozy, so wonderful. I'm afraid I won't hold them properly, Su Shihan admitted honestly. It was her first time as a mother, and seeing the tiny babies made her afraid to hold them, worried she might hurt them by accident. Chapter 006, Triplets. Qin Lang's face was filled with confidence as he said, It's all right, I'll teach you. You know how to hold them. Su Shihan was surprised once again. Of course. You just had surgery for an hour and a half, and that was enough time for me to learn many daddy skills, Qin Lang said, as he carefully picked up their eldest son. His movements were gentle, and he bent slightly at the waist and knees, making it easier for Su Shihan, who was lying in bed, to watch. See, like this. When holding them, you should place their little heads in the crook of your elbow. Use your left hand to support their back and waist because their spines are still soft. The most important thing is to protect that part. Then, use your right hand to cradle their legs and little bottom. This is the proper way to hold them. See, the babies are comfortable. They are already asleep. Su Shihan watched carefully, her gaze soft and warm like a spring pond. She hadn't expected Qin Lang to take it so seriously, nor had she expected him to adapt to the new role of a first-time dad so quickly and learn so much in such a short time. Today, deciding to find Qin Lang was truly the best decision for the babies. You just gave birth, so you're still weak. I'll handle holding them for now. I wanted to let you see them. These 3 little treasures are really adorable. After saying that, Qin Lang gently placed the 3 babies onto the bed, in Su Shihan's arms. Looking at their wrinkled little faces, Su Shihan felt reluctant but still spoke realistically, Qin Lang, I think, you should be more humble. These babies are so small, they haven't really developed yet, so they are not exactly cute. Qin Lang laughed nonchalantly, his eyes filled with affection for the babies. Although they don't look quite like I imagined, I looked it up, and newborns all look like this. Besides, they are already cute and soft. Indeed, a baby is 360 degrees adorable through the lens of parental love. Su Shihan smiled warmly as she looked down at the 3 little ones. After giving birth, Su Shihan was exhausted and soon fell asleep. The 3 babies slept soundly as well. Qin Lang sat beside the bed, and the afternoon sun streamed in through the window, warming his back. He quietly pulled the curtain aside and picked up his phone to call his roommates. Hey, Lao Yang, is anyone in the dorm? Can you do me a favor? He had left so suddenly this morning. Although he had prepared everything for Su Shihan and the babies, he had forgotten to bring his own things. Now he couldn't leave the hospital, and the room couldn't be left empty, so he asked his roommates to bring some items over. As soon as Lao Yang picked up the phone, Sun Shu and Ju Qi immediately gathered around, and Lao Yang switched the call to speakerphone. Hey, Lang, are you off having fun with the beautiful campus queen next door? Lao Yang laughed. Qin Lang couldn't help but smile, his joy hard to contain. I've got some good news. I'm a dad now. I'm at the hospital taking care of Shihan and the babies. I can't leave, so could you bring me some stuff? I'll send you the list on WeChat in a bit. There was silence on the other end of the line for half a minute before his three roommates erupted into excited cheers. Wow, wow, wow. Qin Lang quickly hung up the phone and sent the WeChat message to Lao Yang. The bus ride from school took about 40 minutes, but the three of them didn't hesitate and took a taxi instead, arriving in just 20 minutes. On the way, the roommates were ecstatic. I can't believe it, I can't believe it. Lang, you really pulled it off. You got the campus queen from Zhonghai University, and she even gave you babies. Lang's looks are just too extraordinary. Of course, he'd do something like this. Wait, did you guys hear that? He said babies. Do you think it's a slip of the tongue, or does Lang have more than one baby? Zhu Qi's comment stunned Yang Bin and Sun Shu. Looking at Su Shihan's belly today, it didn't look like just one. Though they had suspected Qin Lang might have more than one baby, they were still shocked when they saw the three little ones in the hospital. Lao Yang covered Zhu Qi and Sun Shu's mouths while silently shouting at Qin Lang. Qin Lang looked at the three sleeping babies and Su Shihan, then immediately ushered his roommates out of the room. In the hospital corridor, Yang Bin excitedly grabbed Qin Lang's hand. This is amazing, Lang. You're a legend. 3 babies in one go. Lang is forever a hero. Lang, is it a nephew or a niece first? Sun Shu asked eagerly. Qin Lang smiled. The eldest is a nephew, and the 2 identical ones are nieces. 1 son, 2 daughters. Damn, Lang, you've got it all now. 2 beautiful daughters and a son, how enviable. Sun Shu exclaimed. Yang Bin patted his shoulder and laughed. Don't be jealous, little Sunday. You're not on Lang's level. Sun Shu felt a bit sad, but looking at Qin Lang's handsome face, he couldn't help but accept it. He shook his head and said, no way I can compare. Lang, you're amazing. Lang, this time you really didn't play fair. You didn't even tell us about this huge thing. When did you and Su Shihan get together? How did you suddenly become a dad? Qin Lang's roommates were happy for him, but this whole situation was too sudden. Qin Lang understood their thoughts and answered casually, it's a long story, but the babies are definitely mine. Hearing this, the 3 roommates immediately cheered. See, Lang doesn't make a fuss, but gets big things done. He not only won the campus queen, but also finished the baby-making process in his 2nd year. Lang, we're really happy for you. But Lang, 3 babies is amazing, but the expenses are also huge. 3 little gold-devouring monsters. You suddenly have 3 babies now. Do you still have enough money for this? We've got a bit we gathered along the way. You can take it for now. Qin Lang shook his head with a smile and patted their shoulders. Don't worry, guys. I'm a dad now. I've got everything covered, including money for my wife and kids. Hearing this, the 3 roommates trusted him. Seems like Lang has been hiding his abilities. Har har. Since that's the case, we won't be polite. We won't need the money, but the red envelopes, we'll take them. These are for your son and daughters. Each of them handed Qin Lang a red envelope, placing it in his hand. All right, I'll take the red envelopes. When we have a celebration for the babies, you all have to come and join us. After some playful banter, Qin Lang quickly saw them off. Although Su Shihan was still asleep, he didn't know when she would wake up, so he didn't want to stay outside too long. After sending the roommates to the elevator, he returned to the room. As soon as he entered, his phone rang. He hurried to answer, but it was already too late. Su Shihan had woken up. She groggily opened her eyes and instinctively said, my phone, whose call is it? Qin Lang glanced at the caller ID. Lin Xiao. Should I answer it? Su Shihan nodded. Qin Lang answered and put the phone on speaker, placing it by her pillow. Although the doctor hadn't said she couldn't use her phone, Su Shihan was still weak and couldn't easily lift her arm. Chapter 007 A Family. After the call was connected, Su Shihan had no time to speak before an anxious female voice came from the other end. Shihan, where have you been? Auntie said you were out for a day, why haven't you come back yet? Do you know that you are 38 weeks pregnant now? And you have triplets again. My godsons and goddaughters will be very tired if you go out with such a big belly. Where are you now? I'll pick you up. Xiao Xiao, I'm in the hospital. I've given birth. Su Shihan whispered. As she spoke, she looked at the three little treasures over there. The little guys were sleeping soundly and didn't seem to be woken up. What? The birth is over? Isn't the due date still half a month away? Then you are alone now. Lin Xiao was making a lot of noise. Su Shihan looked up at Qin Lang a little embarrassedly, and Qin Lang said, I'm going out for a while, I'll be back in a few minutes, I'm outside, call me if you have anything. He could tell that it was Su Shihan's best friend on the other end of the phone, and it was not convenient for him to listen to their conversation. What's going on? Why is there a man's voice? Lin Xiao's voice suddenly became more worried. Su Shihan said softly, it's okay. Then she patiently told Lin Xiao what happened today. She was weak and her voice was low, and she was always concerned about the sleeping babies over there, so she always stopped talking for a while. Lin Xiao on the other end of the phone was anxious, and he had already taken a taxi out while listening. When Su Shihan finished speaking, Lin Xiao was almost at the hospital. So, the person who has been with you today is the father of the child who has not appeared for more than 8 months before. Lin Xiao's tone was not very good. Su Shihan knew that she was somewhat dissatisfied with Qin Lang. Because she was her best friend, and she had come to take care of her for more than 8 months. Although she also said that she did not go to Qin Lang, Lin Xiao still felt that after something like that happened, Qin Lang should not have known news at all. Xiao, don't say that. If Qin Lang hadn't been here today, I really don't know what to do. He only knew about the child today. I was surprised that he could do so well. I am very grateful to him in my heart. I will be at the hospital in a few minutes. Let's talk about it later. Lin Xiao hung up the phone and Qin Lang came back soon. It was my best friend just now. She was with me when I was pregnant, so she was a little excited when she knew I gave birth. Don't mind. Qin Lang prepared some warm water for her and put it to her lips with a paper straw. Su Shihan was thirsty and tilted her head slightly to drink a few sips. I know you must have a good relationship. My roommate was also quite noisy just now. They all care about us. Su Shihan looked at him in surprise. Has your roommate been here? Well, you were sleeping. I kicked them out. They also gave red envelopes to the babies. This is the first red envelope received by our three little treasures. Qin Lang put the red envelope on the bedside and said with a doting smile, the baby's mother will keep it for them. Su Shihan looked at the three red envelopes on the bedside table and was stunned for a while. Qin Lang gave his roommate's red envelope to her for safekeeping? How did this feeling seem to have divided them into a family? When Su Shihan was distracted, the door of the ward was suddenly pushed open. Lin Xiao rushed in with an anxious look on his face and rushed directly to their bed. Qin Lang stopped in front of the bed and blocked Lin Xiao. Lin Xiao raised her head and saw a handsome face, but when she thought of Qin Lang's identity, she still frowned slightly. Qin Lang, this is my best friend, Lin Xiao, this is Qin Lang, he is. I know, it's the father of the three little treasures who hasn't seen each other for more than 8 months. Lin Xiao's words were a little bit thorny. Qin Lang didn't care. Su Shihan couldn't help but secretly winked at her best friend. Ms. Lin, Shihan just gave birth, and the incision hasn't healed yet. Try to sit by the bed and talk to her. After Qin Lang finished speaking, he walked towards the baby stroller over there. Sanbao was probably just awakened by the sound of the door opening. With a pout, he immediately burst into tears. This sound moved the hearts of the adults in the ward. Lin Xiao turned around and saw Qin Lang picking up the child with ease, holding him in his arms and coaxing him gently. It's rare for a man to be so gentle. Su Shihan was also worried at first, but when she saw Qin Lang noticed it at the first time, she was relieved immediately. Sanbao was also well behaved, and soon stopped crying in Qin Lang's arms. Sanbao is awake. I'll carry her to the corridor for a walk. He left the ward to the two girlfriends. As soon as Qin Lang left, Su Shihan immediately said, Xiao, don't treat Qin Lang like this. He has done a good job. Lin Xiao rolled her eyes at her and said unhappily, silly girl, he has only appeared for a few hours, and you have been bribed. You have been here alone for more than 8 months. But he didn't know about it either. You can't blame him. Su Shihan explained. Lin Xiao tilted her head to look at the corridor. Qin Lang was holding Sanbao and lowering his head to coax the child. It looked like that. She didn't say anything else. She asked about Su Shihan's physical condition and found a reason to go out. Qin Lang didn't seem surprised at all when he saw Lin Xiao coming over. Qin Lang, Shihan and I have known each other for 10 years. I will speak frankly. For the past 8 months, I didn't care where you were. But now that you are in the hospital, I want to ask you, what do you think about the future placement of the children and Shihan? Of course I will take care of my children and their mother. Lin Xiao heard this, with a cold face, but didn't say anything more. He took out a wad of cash from his bag and handed it to him. Take this money. Shihan has been working hard on her own these past few months. This is the bonus I just gave you. You two definitely need it now. Ms. Lin, I appreciate your kindness. I heard from Shihan that you have been taking care of her recently. But from now on, whether it is material or living, she has me. Don't worry. Lin Xiao didn't expect Qin Lang to say this. She was stunned for a moment, but she still insisted on stuffing the money into Qin Lang's pocket. Take it. This is a red envelope for my godson and goddaughter. I'm leaving. I'll come back later. After Lin Xiao finished speaking, she left without looking back. Qin Lang looked at her back, then looked at the cash in his arms, shook his head helplessly, and took the money back to the room with the child in his arms. Shihan, this is a red envelope from Miss Lin to the children. Su Shihan looked at the stack of cash on the table, her eyes moved. There should be nearly 5,000. It should be the bonus for Lin Xiao's project. Just got the hot bonus, and it was sent directly to her. She remembered this friendship in her heart. Qin Lang put Sanbao, who was sleeping peacefully in his arms, back into the baby stroller. As soon as the little guy lay down, he pursed his lips and looked like he was about to cry. Qin Lang's heart was instantly moved. He quickly reached out and gently stroked the little guy's belly. Under the gentle comfort, the corners of Sanbao's mouth slowly fell back. Seeing his daughter fall asleep, Qin Lang, the old father, breathed a sigh of relief and showed a relieved smile on his face. Chapter 008 The Healing Smile of Three Little Darlings. At the same time, the voice of the system suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding, it is detected that the host's child's mother needs to eat, and the host's confinement meal cooking skills can be activated. Huh? Su Shihan is hungry. Qin Lang turned around and saw Su Shihan looking down at her belly with a dazed expression. After being discovered, she blushed in embarrassment. That look was too cute. Qin Lang couldn't help but smile. What's there to be ashamed of for being hungry, silly girl? He walked to the bedside, covered Su Shihan with the quilt, and said, Shihan, it's almost time for dinner. You're awake now. I'll go downstairs and get some food for us. Su Shihan didn't expect him to be so thoughtful. Qin Lang noticed it immediately when she felt a little hungry. She nodded gently and whispered, Thank you, Qin Lang. Qin Lang tapped her forehead lightly and smiled, Tell me thank you. Don't say this word in the future. I'm leaving. Qin Lang walked out of the ward and immediately activated the system skills in his mind. In a blink of an eye, countless recipes for confinement meals and nutritious meals appeared in his brain. This feeling was like his brain was being developed again. It was really cool. What are the taboos for pregnant women who have just given birth, and what kind of nutrition should confinement meals provide to mothers? Qin Lang knew it at his fingertips. He was eager to try it. Since he had the skills, he would of course cook the mother's confinement meal by himself. He directly borrowed the hospital kitchen. When the chef heard that this handsome young man was going to cook for the mother, he immediately gave up his seat without saying a word, and couldn't help but sigh, young people nowadays are so affectionate. Su Shihan's body can only eat some liquid food now, but even so, Qin Lang will make some tricks in the liquid food. Half an hour later, he went upstairs with a plate. At the same time, Lin Xiao, who went out to buy things, also came back, carrying a bunch of things for the baby and the mother, and a food box in the other hand. After entering their house, Lin Xiao and Qin Lang put the confinement meal on the small dining board on the bed at the same time. Shihan, this is the confinement meal I went to several stores to choose for you. It is nutritionally balanced, colorful, fragrant and delicious. Come and try it. Lin Xiao opened the meal box, which contained a pile of small tableware of all sizes, including meat and vegetables, soup and porridge, with a complete variety. But when Su Shihan saw the oil floating on the pig's trotter soup, she suddenly felt uncomfortable in her stomach. Lin Xiao's attention fell on the dinner prepared by Qin Lang, and he frowned and said, Qin Lang, Shihan has just given birth and is very weak. She should pay more attention to nutrition when eating. How can you send her directly to the hospital cafeteria? Qin Lang opened his small earthenware jar and said, I made this myself in the hospital kitchen. Shihan, you can only eat some liquid food now. I made you lotus root oatmeal porridge to replenish your energy, and clear stewed black chicken soup to reduce inflammation and detoxify. I prepared some yam and pumpkin puree for you as side dishes. Because you can't eat normal meals now, you have to make do with it for the next 2 days. As soon as Qin Lang opened the lid of the earthenware jar, the fragrance instantly filled the ward. Without Su Shihan saying anything, Lin Xiao knew that the confinement meal he bought outside had already lost. And this was made by someone else himself. Su Shihan raised her head, looked at Qin Lang with some surprise, and asked, Did you make these? Qin Lang winked at her handsomely. Of course, didn't I say that I will take good care of you and the babies, and I will not let anyone else take care of your confinement meals in the future. Lin Xiao looked at her best friend's face, which was gradually turning red, and then looked at Qin Lang's bright eyes, and suddenly felt that she had become a big light bulb in this space. She looked down at the 2 confinement meals, tasted the pig's trotter soup she bought with a disposable spoon, and tasted Qin Lang's black chicken soup, and her eyes lit up instantly. It tastes good. Lin Xiao subconsciously said her true feelings. Then, she pouted and said, Shihan, you eat Qin Lang's portion, I'll eat mine by myself, it's too oily. Su Shihan couldn't help but look up at Qin Lang when she heard this, and the two smiled at each other. You guys eat, I'll take the 3 babies to the nursery, it's time for them to drink milk. Qin Lang pushed the 3 babies out. Su Shihan ate the dinner Qin Lang prepared himself, with an unconcealable sweetness in her eyes. Lin Xiao looked at her like that and couldn't help but say, a meal makes you so happy. Don't you think about how hard it was for you to live alone in a rented house while you were pregnant for the past 8 months? You can't. Xiao Xiao tilde, I just think this soup tastes good tilde, Su Shihan said with a smile. Lin Xiao's words were all blocked back suddenly. She looked at Su Shihan's soup, savored the taste just now, smacked her lips and said, it tastes good, Qin Lang's cooking skills are beyond reproach, I'll try it again. As soon as Lin Xiao stretched out the spoon, Su Shihan immediately raised her hand to protect her territory. No, Xiao Xiao tilde, I'm a patient who just gave birth to a child, how can you snatch food from a patient? Lin Xiao looked at her food protection and smiled unhappily. Okay, don't snatch the delicious delicacies made by your Qin Lang for you. Su Shihan lowered her head and drank a mouthful of soup, and the smile on her mouth deepened. Well tilde, Qin Lang's cooking skills are really good tilde. In the mother and baby room, Qin Lang was mixing milk powder seriously, and he looked back at the 3 little guys from time to time. Dabao and Sanbao were awake, and were curiously looking at their father who was mixing milk. Only Erbao, the little lazy bug, slept in a daze all afternoon and hadn't opened his eyes yet. Looking at the 3 little babies, Qin Lang felt an indescribable sweetness in his heart. This day's experience was too exciting for him, but it was wonderful and happy. There were many parents in the mother and child room, but it was the first time that a young father like Qin Lang brought 3 babies to feed alone. Several aunts couldn't help but gather around him. Seeing Qin Lang's professional movements, everyone was surprised. Hey, young man, your method of mixing milk powder is very professional. You haven't been trained, have you? But I only heard of confinement nannies, and I haven't heard of boys doing this job. I'm not a confinement nanny, I'm the children's father. Dear father. When saying this, Qin Lang's tone was full of pride in being a father. Such a young father. Are these 3 babies yours? The aunts couldn't help but ask in shock. Yes, these 3 are my babies, triplets. Oh my god, triplets, this is amazing, boy, you are so strong. And he is a good father. Look how good his milk powder is. The babies must be very happy to have a father like you. Hearing what they said, Qin Lang smiled and looked at the babies. While feeding the babies with a bottle, he whispered to them. Babies, you must like me as a father, right? You can't wait to come out and meet your father. Dad likes you too tilde. The 3 babies who were drinking milk seemed to have heard Qin Lang's words. They blinked and looked at Qin Lang, grinning. This smile really melted the heart of the tough guy Qin Lang, and softened it as a feather tilde. Chapter 009 Shared Bed Tonight. After the 3 little ones had eaten and drunk their fill, Qin Lang accompanied them to play in the nursery for a while. Today was probably a surprise to Su Shihan. Now that her bestie was here, Qin Lang wanted to give them a separate space so that Su Shihan could have a good chat with her bestie. The nursery was full of babies, most of whom were like the three little ones in Qin Lang's family. They were born a few days ago, and their parents were full of love. One aunt held a rattle in her hand. The bright red color and the jingling sound quickly attracted the attention of the babies. Qin Lang was holding the second baby who woke up last and burping him. When the little one heard the noise over there, he kept staring in that direction with his slightly narrowed eyes. Qin Lang noticed his daughter's condition and looked over there. Ding, the system detects that the baby likes interactive toys, and will activate their host's hand-carving skills. After activating the skills, the host can complete the task of carving handmade toys for the babies and get a bonus of 50,000 yuan. Can you get a bonus if you carve toys for the babies yourself? The system is so good. Activate. The host has activated the skill. The hand-carved material package will be delivered to their hospital by express delivery later. In the blink of an eye, Qin Lang instantly felt a subtle change in his palm. His fingers, which were originally well-jointed, became more slender and powerful, and his mind also gained a lot of knowledge about ivory carving, jade carving, wood carving, etc. He looked at the counter in front of him and even conceived a complete carving pattern in his mind. This feeling is so cool. Qin Lang sent the three little treasures back to the room. Su Shihan and Lin Xiao had finished their meal. The dinner they made was all empty. Seeing this, Qin Lang smiled knowingly. I'll go downstairs to get a courier. The engraving material package has arrived. When Qin Lang came up, he had an exquisite large wooden box in his hand. Su Shihan and Lin Xiao looked at him curiously. Qin Lang, what is this? Su Shihan asked. This is a material package for carving. I was just in the maternity room. I saw that our three little babies like small toys very much, so I placed an order in the same city. I plan to carve some handmade toys for the babies. It's safe and reliable to make them yourself. You want to carve small toys for the babies yourself? Su Shihan and Lin Xiao were both surprised. Qin Lang smiled and said nothing. He took out everything in the material package. Because it was a toy for a newborn, Qin Lang planned to make wood carvings. Both their weight and the hardness were just right. The babies were very comfortable when playing. For the next hour, Lin Xiao sat by the bed and chatted with Su Shihan. The babies slept in the stroller, and Qin Lang sat on the small sofa over there, holding various carving knives to operate on the small wood. Su Shihan looked at him from time to time. Qin Lang was very serious when carving, and he looked handsome with his head down. Lin Xiao also followed her bestie's gaze and said softly, "This Qin Lang really cares about the children." Su Shihan nodded gently, "Yeah." An hour later, 3 handmade toys were freshly baked. Qin Lang held the wooden horse, the little white rabbit and the little tiger in front of Su Shihan. "Shihan, the babies are still sleeping, you as a mother should help the babies look at these toys first." Su Shihan took the little toys from his hand and looked at them carefully. The 3 toys were carved vividly, and even the details were handled very well. There was a small bell on the neck of the wooden horse, and there was a king on the head of the tiger. The little white rabbit was even cuter, and the short little tail was super cute. And Qin Lang was very careful. All the toys were polished with fine sandpaper, and they felt smooth and smooth. There was no need to worry about hurting the baby's delicate skin. Su Shihan praised, "Such a cute handmade toy, not to mention the babies, even I like it." "Qin Lang, you are so amazing." Qin Lang winked handsomely, "It's a piece of cake. If you like it, I will carve a bigger and cuter one for you later." Lin Xiao waited beside him, and saw that Su Shihan had finally played with it, so he took the 3 small toys and looked at them carefully. "This craftsmanship is amazing, Qin Lang, your carving skills are almost catching up with the master level." Su Shihan was a little surprised. She knew that Qin Lang carved these 3 small toys well, but she didn't know whether he was professional or not. "My old man usually likes this kind of carving. I learned a lot from him. Qin Lang's level is simply a work of art." Lin Xiao explained. Su Shihan was even more surprised and couldn't help asking, "Qin Lang, have you studied this specifically?" Qin Lang said, "No, this is my first time carving." As soon as these words came out, Su Shihan and Lin Xiao looked at Qin Lang in shock. Su Shihan believed what Qin Lang said and thought Qin Lang was awesome. Lin Xiao didn't believe what Qin Lang said and thought Qin Lang was being too good at Versailles. Qin Lang's craftsmanship was the work of an old carpenter who loved carving for decades. She looked at the 3 small toys in her hand happily and suddenly thought of a good way to help her best friend. She knew that Qin Lang and Su Shihan were both sophomores now. They had to raise 3 children and must have some financial difficulties. Although she was already working, her salary was not enough to help. Now that Qin Lang had such a skill, she thought of a good way to help Su Shihan's family make money. Immediately, she said to Qin Lang, you are so good at wood carving, can you also carve walnuts? My old man likes it. You have such a good skill. If you can also carve walnuts, I want to buy 2 for my dad. The system's carving skills include all types, and walnut carving is naturally no problem. I know how to carve walnuts. Can I carve one today? No, there are no tools here, and walnut carving is more delicate and takes time. Walnuts must be selected well. It is definitely not possible today. Okay, then let me know when you have time to carve it, and I will buy 2 walnuts. Lin Xiao looked at the little toy in her hand happily, and she had already thought of the old man's joy when he received the walnuts. At 9:30 in the evening, the lights in the hospital ward began to turn off. Qin Lang was here to accompany him, so Lin Xiao had to leave first. The 3 little babies drank milk again at night and fell asleep quickly. Su Shihan slept too long during the day, so she was not sleepy at this moment. There was only a warm yellow wall lamp left in the room, and Qin Lang slept on the sofa next to him. In the quiet ward, Su Shihan seemed to be able to hear his breathing. Such a distance and experience made her feel a little nervous. Qin Lang, are you asleep? Not yet, what's wrong? Qin Lang, is it okay for you not to go back to school today? It's okay, I've asked for leave from the instructor. Even if you didn't ask for leave, you have to say so, the mother of the child is more important. Oh. Qin Lang. Shihan, can't you sleep? Qin Lang suddenly walked towards the bed. Su Shihan subconsciously grabbed the bed sheet under her body, and she couldn't help but open her beautiful eyes wide when she saw the handsome face that suddenly approached. A gentle palm was placed on her forehead. Qin Lang compared the temperature and said, the body temperature is normal, are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? No. Su Shihan lowered her eyes and shook her head. Qin Lang saw her blushing cheeks and suddenly realized that this girl was probably shy. The ward was so big. Although there were 3 little treasures between them, it was the first time for Su Shihan to be in the same room like this, so it was normal for her to be a little nervous. Qin Lang was in a playful mood. He suddenly bent down and approached Su Shihan's face. Watching her beautiful eyes suddenly become bigger and rounder, her cheeks quickly warmed up, and her pink lips gradually regained their color and trembled slightly. Qin Lang, who originally just wanted to tease her, suddenly couldn't control himself. Chapter 010 Breast Milk. The child's father can help. Wow tilde. The cry of a baby instantly broke the atmosphere in the ward. Qin Lang immediately stood up, cleared his throat and walked towards the stroller. Which baby woke up? Su Shihan asked with a red face. It's Sanbao. Qin Lang had already picked up the child. Sanbao seems to sleep less than his brothers and sisters. In the next 2 days, Lin Xiao came almost every day to accompany Su Shihan and help Qin Lang take care of the 3 babies. Su Shihan's body has also recovered a lot. She got out of bed and moved around for a while yesterday and today. In the afternoon, the warm sunlight sprinkled in the ward. Several adults were a little drowsy. At this time, Sanbao, who had just fallen asleep for a while, suddenly woke up again. The child's crying immediately woke Qin Lang up, and he went over to pick up the child. Su Shihan had just fallen asleep. Qin Lang was afraid of disturbing her and the other 2 babies, so he quickly took the child out. However, Su Shihan still woke up. Seeing this scene, Lin Xiao whispered to her, Shihan, don't say it, Qin Lang is really attentive to the children. Su Shihan smiled gently, nodded and said, well, if he wasn't here these days, I'm afraid I really can't handle it alone. Before he finished speaking, Qin Lang came back with Sanbao again. He looked a little nervous. Qin Lang, what's wrong? Su Shihan asked. Qin Lang put Sanbao on Sanbao's stroller, then opened the small quilt wrapped around the baby and carefully checked the baby's trunk skin. Then he frowned and said, Sanbao seems to have neonatal jaundice. Su Shihan and Lin Xiao became nervous instantly. How could this happen? Jaundice, is it serious? Qin Lang, Sanbao, she. Shihan, don't worry, I've checked the baby's skin condition. There are only a few slight marks on Sanbao's skin. The situation should not be serious. Moreover, jaundice is very likely to occur in newborns, especially premature babies. Sanbao is the youngest and the weakest, so it is estimated that this phenomenon will occur. Qin Lang patiently explained to Su Shihan, and then said, I will call the doctor now. We are in the hospital now, there will be no problem. He pressed the bell at the head of the bed, and the doctor and nurse came soon, taking Sanbao for examination. Su Shihan also wanted to go with them. Qin Lang patted her and said, Shihan, I'll go, don't worry, I'm with Sanbao, you stay and take care of Dabao and Erbao with Lin Xiao. Jaundice is really not a big problem. Many newborns will heal on their own. I have checked these materials. There will be no problem. His voice made people feel inexplicably relieved. Su Shihan tightly grasped Qin Lang's hand and said, Qin Lang, you. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Qin Lang nodded at her. After they went out, Lin Xiao comforted Su Shihan for a while, and then took out his mobile phone to check the information about jaundice. It was exactly the same as what Qin Lang said. After the two of them finished reading it, they felt relieved. Shihan, you are right. Qin Lang is really reliable in taking care of children. Sanbao must be fine. He is here. Lin Xiao said sincerely. Soon, Qin Lang came back with Sanbao. The little guy had fallen asleep after tossing around. Qin Lang carefully put her back in the stroller and twisted the quilt. Shihan, the doctor has checked Sanbao. Although Sanbao does have neonatal jaundice, the serum bilirubin value is very low and within the normal range. It will subside in about a week. It's okay. Su Shihan couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when she heard this. She looked at Sanbao, who was sleeping soundly, her eyes full of love and pity. 2 days later, Lin Xiao was sent on a business trip by the company, and Qin Lang continued to take care of Su Shihan and the 3 babies. The jaundice of the 3 babies was approaching its peak, but because Qin Lang had professional knowledge as a nanny, he took good care of them in the past 2 days, and the overall TSB value was well controlled. The little guy did not need light therapy, and there were no other problems except for occasional crying and loss of appetite. As for Dabao and Erbao, the 2 little guys were in good health. They ate and slept every day. Sometimes Sanbao woke up and cried occasionally, but it did not affect their good sleep at all. In the middle of the morning, the 3 little guys woke up from hunger after a nap, and a crying competition started in the ward again. Qin Lang had experience in taking care of the babies these days. He skillfully picked up the bottle and went to the mother and baby room to make milk powder. After returning, he and Su Shihan each held a child to feed. Looking at Erbao drinking happily in his arms, Su Shihan couldn't help but sigh slightly. Babies, I'm sorry. It's been 5 days, and Mom hasn't let you drink breast milk yet. There was a bit of apology in her voice. It usually takes about 3 days for a mother to have breast milk after giving birth. Su Shihan doesn't have it yet. Seeing the babies drinking milk powder every day, she is actually very anxious. Qin Lang saw that she was a little sad and comforted her. Shihan, it's normal for you to be like this now. It takes 3 to 5 days to have breast milk after a normal birth. You had a cesarean section, so it will take longer. Don't worry, the babies are drinking milk powder well now. I prepared the best milk powder. Su Shihan gently pulled the corners of her mouth in response to his comfort, but she still felt guilty. So when the nurse made rounds today, she asked about breast milk again in a low voice. The nurse immediately said, Baby's mother, your condition is normal now. You just need to continue to let the baby help more like you have done in the past few days. I let the baby drink frequently as you said, but it has been 4 days. I understand your feelings, but breast milk secretion still depends on personal circumstances. In fact, if you are anxious, you can ask the baby's father to help. Can he help me? How can he help me? Su Shihan asked. Qin Lang's neck turned red when he heard this, and some inappropriate associations appeared in his mind. The nurse smiled and said, Of course, do it like the baby tilder. Babies have less strength, and the baby's father must have more strength. Tilder, if you are in a hurry, you can try this method, so that the baby can drink breast milk faster. Tilder. After the little nurse finished speaking, she went out with a smile on her face. Before leaving, she said, I'll help you close the door. Tilder. Su Shihan had already reacted to what the nurse meant by help. She blushed and wanted to run out immediately to find a place to hide and never see Qin Lang again. Qin Lang was a little embarrassed at first, but seeing Su Shihan's shy and cute appearance, he couldn't help but smile and said, "Shihan, how about I help you?" Su Shihan clenched her little fist in shame and anger, and said angrily, "No, no, you. Why not use me? I'm the baby's father. It's my responsibility to let the baby drink breast milk earlier." Qin Lang said righteously. Su Shihan bit her lower lip tightly, almost speechless due to shyness. Seeing her like this, Qin Lang smiled and said, "Okay, I'm just teasing you, don't bite it, your delicate little mouth will bleed soon, I'll make you dinner, now you can eat some normal food, I'll make you a confinement meal to stimulate breast milk secretion, don't worry, the babies will definitely be able to eat breast milk soon." Chapter 011 Qin Lang, I haven't seen breastfeeding yet, let me see. With Qin Lang's 3 meals a day and the help of the babies, Su Shihan finally succeeded in producing milk on the 6th night after giving birth. She let out an excited "R" in the bathroom. Then she tidied her clothes, came out and shared her joy with Qin Lang, who looked up at her. "Qin Lang, the babies have breast milk to drink tilde." When Qin Lang heard this, he looked at Su Shihan's chest. Su Shihan quickly took something to cover herself and glared at Qin Lang shyly. "Where are you looking? You said there is breast milk, where do you say I should look?" Qin Lang asked with a smile. Just at this time, the baby's cry came over. The two returned to the ward. It turned out that Erbao woke up. Qin Lang picked up Erbao and put him in Su Shihan's arms, smiling and saying, "Erbao is really a little foodie. He is very active every time he drinks milk powder. Now that he knows there is breast milk, he wakes up first." Su Shihan was also happy to be able to breastfeed the babies. She held Erbao in her arms and was about to feed him, but suddenly looked up at Qin Lang. Qin Lang looked at the mother and daughter with a tough and tender face. He waited for a long time before looking up and meeting Su Shihan's eyes. "What's wrong, Shihan? Feed Erbao." Su Shihan blushed and looked at him a little embarrassedly. You turn around. "Why? I haven't seen breastfeeding yet," Qin Lang said without blushing. He really wanted to see the mother of the child feeding his baby. Su Shihan's face swelled even redder. Qin Lang turned around and said, "I will see it sooner or later. Not only do I want to see it, but I also want to, Su Shihan blushed and fed Erbao. Ding, it is detected that the babies have drunk their first mouthful of breast milk. Their host is rewarded with a VIP invitation to the top confinement center in Zhonghai for 56 days. A confinement center for 56 days. Qin Lang really needs it now. Recently, he has been taking care of Su Shihan and the 3 babies in the hospital alone. From time to time, nurses come to help, so he can handle it. But tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, Su Shihan will be discharged from the hospital and go home. At that time, they will be left with the nanny at home. She is not a professional confinement nanny. The babies are growing up day by day, and they are awake more and more every day. If all 3 little guys are awake, he probably can't handle it alone. Professional things should be left to professionals. The confinement center is the best choice. After Erbao was full and asleep, Qin Lang settled the child down, and then talked to Su Shihan about the confinement center. When Su Shihan heard that she was going to the confinement center, she couldn't help but lower her head. "Qin Lang, how about I go back to my rental house to recuperate after childbirth?" She knew that the confinement center was usually very expensive. It would cost tens of thousands to stay there for a month, and that was the most ordinary confinement center. All the hospital expenses were paid by Qin Lang recently. He was just a sophomore, and Su Shihan didn't want him to be too stressed. "I feel that I've been in good condition these days. When I get home, I'll take care of the baby with my aunt. It's okay." Su Shihan raised her head and said confidently. Qin Lang shook his head. "No, confinement is very important for women. During this period, not only the babies need the best care, but you too, so going to the confinement center is the best choice." "But." "No buts, I've already booked the confinement center. I'll ask the doctor tomorrow, and we'll go there when you can be discharged from the hospital," Qin Lang said. Su Shihan was a little surprised. She didn't expect that Qin Lang had even arranged the confinement center. She thought that Qin Lang had been doing his duty for the 3 babies these days, but she didn't expect that Qin Lang was also very considerate of her, the mother of the baby. Su Shihan felt her eyes were a little hot. She quickly lowered her head and whispered, "Qin Lang, thank you." Qin Lang felt a headache when he heard this word. Shihan, didn't I tell you that we don't need to say thank you to each other? Don't say it again in the future. If you say it again, I will be angry. Su Shihan was amused by the serious face and said with a chuckle, okay, I won't say it. Qin Lang saw that she was as obedient as a little rabbit, and rubbed her little head lovingly. The touch was furry and soft, which made him want to rub it again, but he still restrained himself, rubbed it a few times and let go. Take it slow, the child's mother will be his sooner or later, har har. On the 8th day after giving birth to their baby, Su Shihan was discharged from the hospital. Early in the morning, the professional nurses and nanny cars of the confinement center arrived at the hospital. Qin Lang completed the discharge procedures, and then got a wheelchair from somewhere, and let Su Shihan, who was wrapped tightly and fully armed, sit on it. The babies were held by professional nurses, and Qin Lang was responsible for pushing Su Shihan. In the elevator, Su Shihan, who was treated as a VIP, felt a little embarrassed and whispered, Qin Lang, is this too exaggerated? I can walk by myself. It's not exaggerated. You can't be blown by the wind now. The car is in the underground parking lot. We don't go out, and the wheelchair is more convenient. Your wound has recovered well, but you still need to pay attention to one thing. His thoughtfulness and meticulousness made Su Shihan couldn't help but curl the corners of her mouth. When she arrived at the confinement center, Su Shihan looked at the luxurious decoration in front of her, and she couldn't help but feel a little scared. She gently pulled Qin Lang's sleeve and whispered, Qin Lang, this confinement center looks so good, isn't it very expensive? Qin Lang, actually. Qin Lang patted the back of her hand, supported her and said, don't worry about the money. I said that I will raise the babies with you. I will take care of your and the baby's food and clothing. His face was full of determination, which made it impossible to question. With the system, he naturally didn't have to worry about material things. The quota for the confinement center was a system reward. This time, Su Shihan spent more than 15,000 during her hospitalization. With the food expenses of these days, the initial 20,000 was almost spent. However, because of the handmade toys made for the babies, Qin Lang's bank card had another 50,000 in deposits. Although the 3 babies will definitely cost more money in the future, with the system, Qin Lang is not panicking at all. He believes that he will make more money in the future and give the babies and Su Shihan a better life. The confinement center prepared a VIP suite for them, which was a luxuriously decorated 4-bedroom and 2 living room with a separate small kitchen. In addition to Su Shihan's large master bedroom, Qin Lang also had his own separate master bedroom, a study, and another bedroom for the confinement nannies who kept watch at night. Because they were VIP users and had triplets, 3 confinement nannies and 5 nurses on duty were arranged in their room, and everything was arranged very well. After arriving in the room, the nursing director came to introduce the project arrangements here, including the daily life of the babies, the learning courses for the mothers, and the special confinement meals, 6 meals a day. Hearing this, Qin Lang said, everything else is good, but you don't have to arrange the confinement meals. There is a small kitchen here, and I will make the confinement meals myself. Chapter 012 Qin Lang's confinement meals are unique. The nursing director said, Mr. Qin, are you worried that our confinement meals are not good? Mr. Qin can rest assured that all the confinement meals in the confinement center are managed by a special team of nutritionists. They are not only delicious, but also balanced in nutrition. They are very suitable for mothers to recover and supplement nutrition during the confinement period. I didn't question your confinement meals, but the confinement meals of the mother. I don't want to let others do it. Qin Lang said. The nursing director was still a little hesitant and said with a smile, Mr. Qin, I really can't make the decision on this matter. Otherwise, I will ask the manager to come. After all, the confinement meals in the confinement center are very important. If they are left to the customers to make by themselves, they are worried that the customers will not make them nutritious enough, which will affect the reputation of their confinement center. You go and call, I'll make a confinement meal for you to see. Qin Lang could understand her concerns. After that, he listed the list of ingredients and handed it to the nursing director, and started to prepare in the kitchen. The nursing director encountered such a thing for the first time, and the other party was a VIP. She didn't dare to say more, and told the nurse to go to the kitchen to get the ingredients Qin Lang needed, while she hurried to call the manager. As soon as the female manager entered the door, she saw Qin Lang holding a knife and preparing dishes skillfully. He lowered his head and focused, just like a professional Michelin chef. Whether it was meat or vegetables, they were handled in an orderly manner on his chopping board in minutes. The female manager was slightly surprised and whispered to the nursing director, "This Mr. Qin's skills are not ordinary. I guess he is a professional. I just don't know how the confinement meal is made. You can ask the nutritionist to come and take a look later." In less than 40 minutes, Qin Lang's confinement meal was ready. A bowl of tonkao crucian carp soup. Su Shihan has been breastfeeding the babies for the past 2 days, but the triplets have a large appetite, so their confinement meal must add more ingredients that promote breast milk secretion. The staple food is healthy brown rice, and the side dishes are prawns stewed with tofu, satay beef, pine nut corn, and a creamy cabbage heart. A combination of meat and vegetables, balanced nutrition. Before tasting it, the aroma of the food has filled the entire living room. The female manager had already guessed the result, but still smiled and said, "Mr. Qin's confinement meal looks very professional, but I hope you will understand one thing. In order to ensure the user experience of mothers, we need a professional nutritionist to test the taste of the food. Do you mind this?" Qin Lang nodded and stretched out his hand to make a casual gesture. The nutritionist of the confinement center came forward and carefully tasted each dish with a serving chopstick. After tasting it, the other party was amazed and nodded repeatedly, saying, "This tastes great. Especially this sharsha beef, it can be stewed so soft and tender in such a short time, it melts in the mouth, it's incredible. Mr. Qin, you are really an expert." After hearing this evaluation, the manager immediately apologized, "Mr. Qin, I'm sorry, we didn't recognize the great man. Since your confinement meal is more delicious than the one prepared by our center, you can arrange your confinement meal freely in the future. We can provide the fresh ingredients you need every day." Qin Lang nodded with satisfaction and brought the confinement meal to Su Shihan. Su Shihan was proud at this moment. Her appetite had been spoiled by Qin Lang these days. If she was asked to eat other confinement meals, they would naturally not be as good as Qin Lang's. The nutritionist hadn't recovered from the excitement yet. She looked at Qin Lang with bright eyes and said, "Mr. Qin's cooking skills are really great. I wonder if Mr. Qin is willing to join our confinement center's nutritionist team. With your leadership and guidance, I believe that our confinement center's confinement meals will definitely be better." Qin Lang really watched Su Shihan eat. Hearing this, he said without looking back, "No, I only make confinement meals for my child's mother." He refused thoroughly. The manager quickly scolded the nutritionist beside him, "Are you confused? Mr. Qin is our VIP customer. He makes confinement meals for Baomar because he loves his wife and children. How can he make them for others?" The nutritionist nodded repeatedly and apologized, "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin, I was too abrupt." The group quickly left the room and stopped disturbing Su Shihan's meal. For this little episode, the manager asked someone to send a whole set of postpartum yoga courses as compensation for today. After lunch, Su Shihan quickly took a nap. Since breastfeeding, Su Shihan has been getting up more often at night and is easily tired during the day. Now that the babies are taken care of by professional caregivers, Qin Lang has a lot more free time. He sat in the study and completed the final carving of the walnut. These days in the hospital, he carved for a while when he was free. After a few days, the 2 walnuts are basically finished. Today, he spent half an hour doing the final inspection and meditation. After it was completely done, Qin Lang put them in a small box and planned to show them to Su Shihan when she woke up. The confinement center is fully prepared, but the daily necessities such as diapers that babies usually use still need to be prepared by parents themselves. Qin Lang took this time to go to a nearby shopping mall maternity and baby store. It is rare for a young boy to come to a maternity and baby store alone, especially a handsome guy. As soon as Qin Lang entered the door, the young female shop assistants immediately discussed in a low voice, "Wow Tilda, there's a handsome guy in the store. The handsome guy is here to shop for his baby, so he should be buying things for his baby. What a pity that such a handsome guy already has a baby Tilda. You don't even want sales when customers come, don't you?" The store manager scolded them, and then walked towards Qin Lang with a smile. The young clerk behind him said mischievously, "Manager, the handsome guy is so young, even if he has a baby, it's just a baby Tilda, the customer potential is not great Tilda." The store manager ignored them and smiled and said to Qin Lang, "Hello, how can I help you?" Qin Lang stood in front of the diaper shelf, looking at the dazzling array of brands, and he really didn't know where to start. "I want to buy diapers for my babies. They are just 8 days old. They need to be breathable, skin-friendly, and absorbent. Please recommend some to me. The diapers in our store are all big brands with good quality. As for breathability and skin-friendly materials, of course, our Pampers and Cow are the best. Mommy Baby is also good. These are the most popular choices for mothers. Qin Lang picked up the 3 brands she recommended and looked at the ingredients carefully. The store manager saw him hesitate and thought that the price she recommended was a bit high. Good diapers are not cheap, so she continued, "Sir, there are other cost-effective diapers in the store. Let's take this one. I think it is thin and absorbent." Qin Lang said directly with the most expensive Pampers. The store manager was stunned for a moment, and immediately smiled and said, "Okay, do you need this pack?" "No, I want 20 packs. Chapter 013 Qin Lang, you can't afford my craftsmanship. R. The store manager was stunned for a moment. Will 20 packs be a bit too much? It's like this, sir. Newborns grow very fast, so diapers also have different models. If you buy too many of the same model, you may not be able to use them later and it will be a waste. No, I have 3 babies at home. Now sometimes I need to use 20 or 30 pieces a day. 20 packs are not enough for a long time. You take so much first, and I will come to buy more later," Qin Lang said with a smile. The store manager was surprised and said, "Sir, your family is actually triplets. Congratulations, sir, you and your wife are so lucky." She led Qin Lang to the counter to check out. The young shop assistants holding 20 packs of diapers behind her were the ones just now. When they heard that Qin Lang bought 20 packs at once and that his family had triplets, they immediately regretted just looking at the handsome guy and missing such a big order. "Sir, you have spent more than 2,500 yuan here today, so you can get a VIP membership in our store. Today's spending cannot be counted into the points system, but it can be counted next time. This time, we will give you some more baby products." Qin Lang nodded and left with 2 full bags of diapers and a large bag of gifts. The young clerk came over and asked, "Manager, don't our VIPs have to spend more than 5,000 yuan at a time? Moreover, the gifts you just gave are too many, and they are worth 1,000 yuan. The manager rolled his eyes at her and said, "You are silly, this customer has triplets at home, and they bought the best and most expensive diapers. This is our best potential customer. Our VIP quota and a small gift for a potential big customer, we are making a fortune." When Su Shihan was woken up to feed, it was already 3 o'clock in the afternoon. After feeding the babies, she was a little hungry. The nurse on the side said with a smile, "Mrs. Qin, you are so happy." Mr. Qin went out to buy things for the babies, but before he left, he specially prepared afternoon tea and put it in the incubator over there. "He is so considerate to you." Su Shihan's cheeks blushed slightly when she heard this, and she couldn't help but smile a little on her pretty face. "Mrs. Qin, we have a special afternoon tea area downstairs. The environment is very good. You can bask in the sun and watch parenting experience videos with other mothers." Su Shihan was a little moved. In recent days, she found that Qin Lang, the new father, did a really good job. A lot of knowledge about babies was popularized by Qin Lang. Compared to that, as a new mother, she seemed to know too little. Since she came to the confinement center this time, Su Shihan wanted to learn more, so she asked the nurse to take the afternoon tea prepared by Qin Lang downstairs. The afternoon tea hall downstairs is decorated very pink, and the soft leather seats are very comfortable. There is a large electronic screen in the middle, which plays parenting videos. Many mothers and parents sit there to eat afternoon tea, watch videos and chat. Su Shihan's arrival quickly attracted everyone's attention. As a mother who just gave birth, Su Shihan's skin and figure look so good that it makes other women jealous. Su Shihan is young, with the foundation of a great beauty, and Qin Lang's detoxification and beauty confinement meal. Su Shihan is simply radiant among the mothers. Su Shihan is accustomed to this kind of look, so she is not restrained. She walked to a seat, sat down, opened the afternoon tea box, and started eating. The mothers next to her. "Wow, it smells so good." Her afternoon tea seems different from ours. "Really? Ours are all tremella soup and small desserts, why is hers so rich? There are also blueberry yam and corn cakes, are those peanut walnut cakes? It looks so fragrant. Nurse, why is this mother's afternoon tea so rich?" The mothers gathered around and asked greedily. The little nurse next to Su Shihan smiled and said, "Moms, the afternoon tea in the confinement center is uniformly supplied, there is no difference, but our mother's afternoon tea is prepared by the child's father personally. Tilda. Prepared by the child's father personally? This is too enviable. Afternoon tea full of love, it looks much better than ours. Tilda. Qin Lang returned to the room and found that Su Shihan was not in the bedroom. The three little guys were sleeping soundly. He went to the bed to check on the three little babies, and then asked the nurse where Su Shihan was. Hearing that she was having afternoon tea downstairs, Qin Lang took the walnuts he had carved and went downstairs to accompany her. As soon as he got downstairs, Qin Lang saw Su Shihan sitting there from a distance. The mothers in the confinement center all wore the same pink home clothes, but Su Shihan wore it differently from others. Beautiful. She is worthy of being the mother of his child. Qin Lang walked over with a smile on his face, but after just 2 steps, he saw a middle-aged woman approaching Su Shihan. Hello, mother, my daughter-in-law just saw your confinement meal and is greedy. Can you give her some? Your portion is quite large, and you definitely can't finish it by yourself. Give half to my daughter-in-law. Su Shihan raised her head and said indifferently, I'm sorry, I've already eaten this afternoon tea, it's not appropriate to share it. Besides, she was reluctant to share the afternoon tea made by Qin Lang with others. It's okay, we don't mind. The other party said with a smile. Su Shihan glanced at the other party and said lightly, I mind. Hey, why are you so ignorant? My request is not excessive. My daughter-in-law thinks the postpartum meals here are too ordinary. She can't eat them normally. She is very picky. Today, she finally saw your afternoon tea and felt very hungry. You can share some with us. How about this, I will buy it. I will buy your half. Su Shihan's face was slightly angry. Just as she was about to speak, a tall figure suddenly blocked her in front of her, and the strong arms and domineering Ishigo protected her steadily behind him. Qin Lang looked at the aunt in front of him and said coldly, Sorry, we don't sell it. The aunt looked at Qin Lang and then understood, You are the father of the child, right? This confinement meal is made by you? Your cooking skills are not bad. My daughter-in-law likes it. Don't worry, we won't eat it for free. We pay for it. You two look quite young. It must be difficult to raise a child at such a young age. The confinement center is so expensive. It's a waste of money to come in. Isn't it good to earn more? Qin Lang looked at the unreasonable aunt and said directly, You can't afford my cooking skills. Chapter 014 Shocked. That pair of walnuts is very expensive. The aunt was unhappy when she heard this, and said with her hands on her hips, Why can't I afford it? Let me tell you, my son works for a big company. His annual salary is high. You name a price, and I will buy one for every confinement meal in the future. I can't exchange it for 1,000 gold. My confinement meal can only be enjoyed by my child's mother. Hey, what's wrong with you, young man? Why don't you make money? Qin Lang ignored her and turned to protect Su Shihan. He took out 2 small walnuts and put them in front of her, smiling and said, Look, the walnuts for your bestie are carved. Please help me with the first look. Su Shihan was amused by him, lowered her head and took the 2 walnuts, and studied them carefully. It's so exquisite, Qin Lang, you are so great. Such a small walnut has so many lines. How did you carve such a beautiful and domineering pattern on it? Su Shihan's eyes were full of amazement. She didn't understand the value of the walnut carving, but she could see that the carving was really exquisite and could be called a work of art. Qin Lang smiled handsomely and whispered, My fingers are more flexible than you can imagine. Su Shihan looked at Qin Lang's hands, which were slender and powerful, with distinct joints. They were indeed very flexible fingers. But why did this sentence sound a bit misleading? After all, these flexible fingers have more than just carving functions. Su Shihan immediately retracted her gaze, lowered her head, and 2 blushes flew on her cheeks. Did you listen to me? I tell you, my son is very powerful. If you don't sell the confinement meal to us today, I guarantee that my son will have 100 ways to make you unable to live in this confinement center. The old lady was even more angry when she saw Qin Lang chatting with Su Shihan as if no one was around, and her voice became louder. Just at this time, the old lady's son came over. He heard about what happened downstairs and wanted to come over to support his wife and mother. Isn't it just a confinement meal? He spent a lot of money to buy it, so how could the other party not agree? Mom, what's going on? The man in a suit looked at Qin Lang and Su Shihan in a bad tone. Son, you came at the right time. It was these two people. I kindly discussed with them that I would spend money to buy their confinement meals. Not only did they disagree, they also said that we couldn't afford it. Sir, my wife's appetite has not been very good recently. She is not used to the food in the confinement center. Since she likes the confinement meals you make, let's talk about the price. Don't worry, you won't suffer any loss. Before the man finished speaking, he suddenly caught a glimpse of the two walnuts in Su Shihan's hand and was stunned for a moment. Hearing about what happened downstairs, the man originally wanted to use money to suppress the other party. Even if he couldn't buy the confinement meals, he had to find enough face. But at this time, seeing this pair of valuable walnuts, he felt a little guilty. His boss likes to collect walnut carvings. In order to flatter his boss, he has learned a lot about this. His boss has a pair of walnut carvings that he treasures. It is said that they were bought for 50,000 yuan each and 100,000 yuan for a pair. Every time an important customer comes, the boss takes them out to show off. He puts them in a nanmu box and washes his hands before taking them. The degree of treasure is no less than rare treasures. Look at Qin Lang's pair of walnuts. The carving is more delicate. It is better than the boss's at a glance. He doesn't seem to care at all. The couple takes them casually. This kind of thing that only rich people use for entertainment is a symbol of status. The other party's economic strength is obviously above him. The man in the suit judged the situation and immediately changed the subject, saying with a smile, "But it depends on whether you are willing. After all, we need your help. Your craftsmanship is good and my wife likes it. If you are willing to sell it, we are definitely willing to spend money to buy it, but if you are not willing, it can only be regarded as a nuisance." The old lady looked at her son in confusion. "Son, what's wrong with you? It's just a confinement meal. They can't even imagine the money we give them." "Why? Mom, stop talking." The man in the suit saw that Qin Lang's face was not very good, and immediately scolded his mother. "It's their decision whether to sell the confinement meal. Since they don't want to, we can't force them. You just had a bad attitude, and we have to apologize to them." How could the old lady be so embarrassed to apologize to Qin Lang and Su Shihan? After all, she was so arrogant just now. "I won't apologize. What should I apologize for? I didn't do anything wrong. They are not happy to give them money." The man in the suit looked at Qin Lang apologetically and said with a smile, "Sir, madam, I'm so sorry." The old man is stubborn. "I apologize to you too on behalf of my mother. I'm sorry to interrupt your afternoon tea." The old lady was so angry when she saw her son being so cowardly. Just as she was about to explode, the manager of the confinement center rushed over after hearing the news. "What's going on?" Her voice instantly attracted everyone's attention. The female manager looked at the two customers in the middle. From their expressions, she probably guessed what was going on. She walked up to Qin Lang and bowed respectfully. "I'm sorry, Mr. Qin. It's because of the poor management of our confinement center that you and your wife had such a bad experience. So, we will provide you and your wife with a special VIP afternoon tea room later. There will also be a special childcare teacher to teach in person. In the future, your wife doesn't have to watch videos in such a noisy place like the hall. I'm really sorry about what happened this afternoon. Later, our staff will go upstairs to deliver our apology service to the two distinguished VIPs." The man in the suit heard it and immediately understood that Qin Lang was a VIP here. "You know, this confinement center is the best one in Zhonghai. The price of an ordinary room is amazing, and the price of a VIP is more than 3 times that of an ordinary room." It seems that Qin Lang's strength is indeed stronger than he thought. He quickly pulled his mother and said, "Mom, apologize to them quickly. Do you still want to continue living here?" When the old lady saw this, she was afraid that she would be the one to be driven out, so she hurriedly said to Qin Lang and Su Shihan, "I'm sorry, I'm an old woman from the countryside, and I don't know how to speak. Don't mind it." Qin Lang was too lazy to argue with this group of people and affect his mood and Su Shihan's mood. At this time, Su Shihan was in the confinement period, and her mood was very important for her recovery. So, he didn't look at the old lady and the man in the suit again, nodded to the female manager, and took Su Shihan upstairs. The manager immediately asked a few nurses to follow and escort them upstairs. As soon as they left, the manager did not pursue the matter any further, but just reminded the man in the suit, "Guest, you and the gentleman just now are both guests of our confinement center. It is better to get along with each other in a friendly manner on weekdays. However, what happened today should not happen again. In the future, we will pay more attention to the service arrangements for VIP guests." The man in the suit nodded slightly at her and took his mother away in a dusty manner. Chapter 015. Su Shihan was shocked. A pair of walnuts made 200,000. "Mom, please don't make trouble for me, okay?" The man in the suit couldn't help getting angry when he returned to the room. The old lady glared at him. "What trouble did I cause you? I just wanted to buy confinement meals." It was obviously those two young people who didn't know what was good for them. "You were too cowardly today. You are a senior executive of a big company and you make so much money. Why are you afraid of two young people? Okay. Didn't you hear? They have VIPs here. What's wrong with VIP? We also paid to live here, and it's so expensive. I feel bad just thinking about it," the old lady said stubbornly. The man in the suit sighed and explained patiently, "Mom, don't be angry, it's still your son who is incompetent. The young gentleman just now is much more capable than your son. You think we spend more money in the confinement center, but the VIP price is 3 times ours." "What? 3 times? That's more than 200,000. Spending so much money on confinement, are they crazy?" The old lady was shocked. The man in the suit smiled bitterly. "What's that? Did you see the walnuts in the mother's hand? They are very valuable. They are toys for rich people. Working class people like your son can't even think about it. Okay, next time we see them here, you should take a detic. Don't offend them, otherwise we won't know how we died." Back to the VIP room upstairs, Su Shihan lay beside the baby's cradles, looked at Qin Lang and asked, "Qin Lang, when the baby's father came over just now, he was obviously aggressive. At the beginning, he also said that he wanted to buy the confinement meal you made, but then halfway through their words, why did his attitude suddenly change 180 degrees? Did you do something?" She was a little curious about what made the other party change his attitude suddenly. Qin Lang was checking the jaundice of the third baby. The jaundice of the little guy had gradually subsided, and he was sleeping soundly now. Hearing Su Shihan's words, he winked at her and said with a smile, "It should be that he suddenly saw my handsome face that was full of nobility and domineering, and knew that he was no match for me, so he was scared." In fact, he knew the real reason very well, because the man was stunned when he saw the walnut in his hand. The walnut carving craftsmanship rewarded by the system must be extraordinary. He was shocked directly, and the other party thought he was a rich and powerful person, so he didn't dare to offend him. Of course, he didn't want to say this to Su Shihan, because it was boring to say that. It's more interesting to tease the mother of the child. Especially when he saw the mother of the child blushing, he knew why there was a phrase called, "beauty is delicious." Su Shihan was originally waiting for his answer seriously, but she didn't expect him to say that, and she laughed immediately. "Qin Lang, be more modest." "My appearance needs to be modest." Qin Lang walked over to her, with a handsome face. Su Shihan turned her head, and her pink cheeks seemed to be bleeding. Qin Lang didn't retreat, and looked at her with his domineering eyes, like a leopard staring at its prey, determined to trap the other party in its territory. Su Shihan couldn't hold on any longer. She gently pushed Qin Lang, shyly changed the subject and said, "The walnut carving is done, I'll send it to Xiao Xiao." After that, she took 2 photos carefully and sent them to Lin Xiao via WeChat. Half a minute later, Lin Xiao called. "Hey, Shihan, Qin Lang's craftsmanship is amazing. This walnut is so finely carved. I guarantee that my old man will be very happy to receive this pair of walnuts. This is much more exquisite than the sets he has at home." Su Shihan smiled and said, "The photos I took are not very good. The real thing is more amazing." "Really? That's great. By the way, I will go back tomorrow, and I can see the real thing then. Should you be discharged from the hospital now? Where should I find you tomorrow? Is it the rental house?" "We didn't go back to the rental house. Qin Lang brought me to the confinement center." Su Shihan glanced at Qin Lang quietly when she said this, with sweetness in her eyes. Lin Xiao was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, "Qin Lang is really thoughtful. The confinement center is good. If your triplets are in a rental house and you two and your aunt are the only ones who can't take care of them, then send me the address and I'll go there as soon as I get back tomorrow. Don't worry, I'll stay here for many days. I'm in a hurry, Tilda. I'm in a hurry to see my godchildren. I haven't seen them for several days. I miss them, Tilda. The two chatted about the three little babies, and Lin Xiao immediately switched to a video call. After talking for a long time, he hung up reluctantly. After hanging up the phone, Lin Xiao turned around and started thinking about finding a reason to get some money from her father. She is now an ordinary office worker with a decent income, but she also spends a lot. She is a real moonlighter. The cash from the last project was all given to her godchildren as red envelopes, and now she is very tight on money. 1 walnut carving is not cheap. Lin Xiao has also learned about the approximate price. Qin Lang carved so well, she thinks a pair will cost 200,000. Lin Xiao thought about it and called her dad. Daddy, your baby daughter has been bullied. As soon as the call was connected, Lin Xiao immediately started to act like a spoiled child. What's wrong? Who would bully our lovely daughter? Lin's dad asked worriedly on the other end of the phone. I was on a business trip this time, Tilda. I went with my colleagues, but they all carried branded bags of the season, and said that my bags were all from last year and too old. I felt so embarrassed, Tilda. So, Dad, give me some money to buy a new bag, Tilda. You definitely don't want your daughter to be looked down upon because of a bag, right? Stinky girl, stop acting. Isn't it just to buy a bag? Buy it. I just have some private money. I'll give it all to you. 60,000 yuan is enough. Lin's dad laughed unhappily. Not enough, Dad. I want 200,000 yuan. Lin Xiao said. What? 200,000? No, that's too expensive. Xiao Xiao, don't be too competitive. You're using a bag worth 200,000 to show off. I don't know who your colleagues are. I only earn so little a month. Where can I get the money to buy a bag worth 200,000? I won't buy it. Lin Xiao said bitterly, but I've already paid the deposit, 20,000 yuan. If I don't buy it, I won't get the money back, Tilda. Dad Lin sighed helplessly. Okay, wait a minute, 200,000 is so much, I have to ask your mom for it. Thank you, Dad. Dad is the best, Tilda. Love you, Tilda. Lin Xiao blew a kiss and waited for news happily. Lin Xiao and Dad Lin are indeed father and daughter. Even their moves are exactly the same. Grandpa Lin immediately told his wife that he would have to buy a pair of walnuts for 400,000. Mother Lin naturally disagreed, so he followed suit and said that he had paid a deposit of 60,000 yuan and could not return it if he did not buy it. The Lin family was frugal, so they often spent a lot of money to avoid wasting a deposit. Chapter 016 Counselor's Talk. Qin Lang, is the child really yours? Mother Lin had no choice but to scold him a few times, but still approved it. Dad Lin immediately transferred 200,000 yuan to Lin Xiao, and the other 200,000 yuan, of course, went into his personal coffers. It's not too much for the middleman to make a profit. Oh. As soon as Lin Xiao got the money, he immediately transferred 100,000 yuan to Su Shihan, saying that it was a prepayment, and the rest would be paid together when he saw the actual product tomorrow. Su Shihan was surprised when she saw that Lin Xiao had transferred a full 100,000 yuan. Qin Lang, this pair of walnuts is so valuable. I don't think you spent too much time on it. These days, Qin Lang has been taking care of her and the babies, and has little free time, so this pair of walnuts actually didn't cost much time. The advance payment alone is 100,000. Doesn't that mean that the value of this pair of walnut carvings is more than that? Qin Lang smiled and said, there is a saying in the industry that it is not expensive if it is not carved, and it is doubled with work. The value of walnuts for playing with is limited, but the carving is priceless, so the specific value depends on the buyer's appreciation level. Su Shihan said in shock, you can sell so much money for the walnut carvings you made in such a short time. Qin Lang, you are really amazing. No wonder Qin Lang always says that there is no need to worry about money, because he is really capable. Qin Lang, give me an account and I will transfer the money to you. Su Shihan said. No need, you keep this money, and you can also keep the balance of Miss Lin tomorrow. Su Shihan looked at him in surprise. This is not the first time Qin Lang asked her to take money. Last time, he gave her the red envelopes given by his roommate and Lin Xiao, but those were small amounts of money. This time, it was Qin Lang's work fee, and it was 100,000. This is not good, Qin Lang. This is yours. What do you mean by yours and mine? We are in a relationship, why do we need to distinguish between you and me? Qin Lang said domineeringly. Su Shihan was speechless. She found that every time she was in front of such a domineering Qin Lang, she always unconsciously turned into a weak little white rabbit. She whispered, but in this way, I am like a housekeeper. Although her voice was low, Qin Lang still heard it. He smiled and said, "Don't want to be my housekeeper? That's fine, leave all the money to me, I spend money lavishly." Hearing this, Su Shihan immediately hugged the phone and stuck out her pink little tongue at Qin Lang. "Then I will take care of it. I am short of money. It will cost a lot of money to raise 3 babies." After saying that, Su Shihan smiled and looked down at Sanbao, who had just woken up. "Qin Lang, do you think the babies are getting more and more beautiful and cute now?" The 3 little guys slowly grew up, no longer as wrinkled as when they were just born. Their skin became whiter, and their facial features became fuller and cuter. Little Sanbao now opened a pair of big black eyes, looking at his parents curiously, and then suddenly grinned, revealing a sweet smile. Su Shihan was pleasantly surprised and smiled gently. "Sanbao is so happy. What do you think she is thinking? Why is she smiling so happily?" Qin Lang also smiled with a fatherly smile. "She must have just overheard our conversation and found out that her parents saved a large amount of money for milk powder for them. She thought that she was really happy to be born into this family." Su Shihan felt that Qin Lang's imagination was really big sometimes. Sanbao is only 8 days old. How can she understand what we are saying? Su Shihan had just finished mumbling when the little Sanbao suddenly showed a seemingly cunning smile and reached out to grab the direction of Su Shihan's mobile phone where she had just received the money. Qin Lang and Su Shihan were both surprised. Qin Lang laughed and said, "Look, Sanbao is really a little money grubber, har har tilde. Our little money grubber, come, daddy kiss you." The next morning, after feeding the babies and watching Su Shihan finish her confinement meal, Qin Lang was about to take a break when he suddenly received a call from his roommate Yang Bin. "Brother Lang, it's an emergency, you hurry back to school now." The situation was similar to what Qin Lang thought. He had not been in school for the past week, and his roommates helped him deal with it when he called the roll in class. But last night, the school happened to check the dormitories, and he was not in the dormitory, so he couldn't hide it. It seems that he has to go back and deal with it himself. Back in the room, Su Shihan fell asleep leaning against the bed. Qin Lang helped her tidy up the quilt, said something to the nurse next to him, and took a taxi back to school. On their way, Qin Lang received a call from the counselor. The counselor asked him where he was going. Qin Lang felt that he couldn't explain it in 1 or 2 sentences, so he said that he would go to the teaching office to talk to her later. When Qin Lang arrived at the teaching office, the young female counselor was talking to the dean of teaching. Seeing Qin Lang, she said with a serious face, "Wait over there first." The dean saw that she was going to lecture him, and went out without saying a few words. The counselor got up to see him off, and closed the office door when she came back. As soon as the door was closed, the serious look on the counselor's face instantly turned into helplessness. She looked at Qin Lang and sighed like an old mother. "You stinky boys are really worrying. Tell me, where did you go last night?" Qin Lang smiled and said, "Counselor, I didn't go back to school this time because I was really delayed by something." Their counselor is a newly graduated master's student, who is only 5 or 6 years older than these college students. Although he looks serious at ordinary times, he has a good relationship with students in private. Things like staying out all night often happen among college students. From time to time, there are few boys who can't stand the school's internet disconnection at 11:30 and run out all night, and then get caught. Afterwards, the instructor will help them write a leave note to cover it up. They can't really let them lose credits for such things and leave a stain in their files. Everyone is familiar with these things, so Qin Lang is quite calm when facing the instructor. The instructor rolled his eyes at him and said unhappily, "What reason? If you have a serious reason, why don't you ask for leave in advance?" "Qin Lang, don't think I don't know, you haven't been to class for several days, other professors don't know you, but I don't know you guys. Sun Shu helped you answer my class the other day. You are here today, give me a good reason, confess and be lenient, resist and be strict." "Instructor, in fact, I really have important things to deal with these days, so I'm not in school." The instructor looked at him, his eyes with a hint of smile in her eyes. She suddenly asked, "Is it about love?" Qin Lang said with a smile, "Counselor, you know a lot. It is indeed about love." The female counselor rolled her eyes. "The school beauty from the 211 university next door came here with a big belly, and the news spread in the class. How could I, as the class counselor, not know?" Qin Lang, I haven't asked you yet, what is going on? Is the baby in the school beauty's belly next door really yours? When she asked the last sentence, the counselor's eyes were brightly filled with gossip. Chapter 017 Meeting the ex-girlfriend again. Excuse me. Qin Lang nodded. Well, the child is indeed mine. I'm a father now. I didn't come to class these days because I was in the hospital taking care of the mother. She just gave birth, and I, as the father, must be there to take care of her. The instructor was holding her thermos cup in one hand. When she heard this, her jaw dropped. Her eyes behind the gold-rimmed glasses suddenly widened, and she looked at Qin Lang in shock. For a long while, she gave Qin Lang a thumbs up. You are really amazing. Qin Lang, you are right to do this. You are man. You must take good care of the child and the mother at this time. I will write you a note of leave for what happened last night. You don't have to worry about it. The school's academic schedule is not heavy recently. You should spend more time with them. After all, it is a special period. By the way, I have to congratulate you. Is it a boy or a girl? The instructor asked in surprise. Hearing this question, Qin Lang smiled, and it was a proud smile as a father. He said, triplets, 1 boy and 2 girls. Triplets. The instructor swallowed his saliva and gave a thumbs up again, saying, Okay, Qin Lang, you are awesome. Congratulations, teacher. Thank you. Qin Lang said with a smile. You young people are really bold in doing things, but there are many people getting married and having children in college now. The policies support it. I am not an old antique, and I will definitely support you. Well, I will write you a leave note. In the next month, you should spend more time with the children and their mothers. Don't worry about school matters. However, even if you are father, you can't fall behind in your studies, understand? Yes. Thank you, instructor. Qin Lang came out of the teaching office with a legitimate leave note in his hand. Yang Bin, Sun Shu and Zhu Qi had been waiting outside the building for a long time. When they saw Qin Lang coming out, the 3 of them immediately surrounded him. Yang Bin asked worriedly, Brother Lang, are you okay? Did the instructor help you write a note for leave this time? Sun Shu said in annoyance, Brother Lang, I'm sorry. It was my fault last night. If I had reacted faster, I could have said that you went to visit other dormitories. I made up a reason that you were taking a shower. No one expected that the teacher who checked the dormitory would actually go to the bathroom to see. Zhu Qi was also anxious, and asked Qin Lang, Brother Lang, is the problem solved? I'm not going to deduct your credits, right? Qin Lang looked at the 3 of them, stretched out his long arms, patted their shoulders, and said with a smile, Don't worry, is there anything that I, your brother Lang, can't handle? The 3 of them immediately turned from gloomy to sunny. Brother Lang, so you've done it. Qin Lang took out the note for leave, flicked it in his hand, and then threw it into Yang Bin's hand. The death-free gold medal, take it. In the future, we will be no problem for roll call in class, sudden dormitory inspections, etc. The 3 of them looked down and laughed instantly. Brother Lang, you're awesome. Not only did you get the leave slip, but you got it for a month. This is a life-saving golden ticket. Brother Lang, how did you get it? Teach me, I want to go on a trip, not for a month, but for a week. Zhu Shu came forward to ask for advice. Qin Lang glanced at him, shook his head and said, I'm afraid that won't work. Who told you that you don't have 3 cute babies? Har har. The dormitory inspection was successfully resolved, and the 4 of them walked towards the dormitory building, talking and laughing. Since he was back to school this time, Qin Lang wanted to take some of his things to the confinement center, because he would stay there for a month this time. Last time, he asked Yang Bin and the others to take some things, because they were in a hurry, so they only took some necessities, and there were some things that he had to take to the confinement center. When he arrived at the bottom of the dormitory building, a familiar figure appeared in his sight. It was his ex-girlfriend Zhao Lulu. When Zhao Lulu saw Qin Lang, she straightened her back instantly and walked towards him aggressively. Hey, isn't this classmate Qin Lang whom I haven't seen for a long time? You have disappeared for more than a week. How come you suddenly come to our ordinary university today? I thought you were taken to Zhonghai University by the school beauty next door Tilder. Qin Lang was too lazy to pay attention to her, but Zhao Lulu looked unyielding. By the way, the school suddenly checked the dormitories last night. Some people did not return home at night. They should be deducted credits, right? Qin Lang, are you here to write a self-criticism? You must write this self-criticism well, because if you don't do it well, it will be included in your student file. Zhao Lulu laughed with a pretentious face. Qin Lang looked at her now and really felt nothing at all. Compared with Su Shihan, Zhao Lulu, the school beauty, is really not that good. Not only her appearance, but her character is even more speechless. He didn't know why he was so blind before and talked to her for a while. Sure enough, people, after getting along for a long time, know what the other person's true face is like. Love at first sight is too hasty. However, he should also thank Zhao Lulu for breaking up with him, otherwise, he would not have met such a good Su Shihan. Since she is an ex-girlfriend, there is no need to talk about it. He immediately said, "Excuse me." After saying that, he walked past Zhao Lulu calmly, not affected by Zhao Lulu's words at all. Yang Bin and the other three followed Qin Lang, and were full of momentum led by their brother Lang. They passed by a school beauty with disdain. You? Zhao Lulu was dissatisfied with being treated like this, and was about to step forward to continue arguing. Suddenly, her roommate ran over from the direction Qin Lang and the others had just come from and grabbed her. Lulu, stop chasing. In the blink of an eye, Qin Lang and the others had already entered the boys' dormitory. Zhao Lulu angrily shook off her roommate's hand and said angrily, "Xiaojuo, why are you pulling me? Don't you see how arrogant Qin Lang is?" Xiaojuo tugged at her sleeve and whispered, "Stop talking, Lulu, Qin Lang has already dealt with what happened last night." Zhao Lulu turned back suddenly and frowned. How is it possible? I specifically asked the president of the student union to help with the dormitory inspection last night, and the dean was there at the time. Even if the instructor wants to help him get away with it, it's not acceptable without a legitimate reason. Last night's dormitory inspection was planned by her. It was her original intention to break up with Qin Lang that day, but she didn't expect Qin Lang to end up with the school beauty next door, making her a joke in the eyes of everyone. Qin Lang hasn't come to class these days. The classmates privately said that Qin Lang and the school beauty must be real. Everyone looks at her with pity. What they say behind her back, Zhao Lulu can guess with her toes. So she thought of this way, to teach Qin Lang a lesson, not to let him have fun with other women outside. Xiaojuo continued, "It's true, I just went to find the counselor, and I happened to see Qin Lang go in, so I eavesdropped outside for a while. The story between Qin Lang and the school beauty next door is true. And the other party gave Qin Lang triplets. Recently, Qin Lang is not in school, just to take care of them." When the counselor heard this reason, he gave Qin Lang a note for last night without saying a word, and also approved him a month's vacation, so that he could spend time with his wife and children. I also heard the counselor congratulate Qin Lang. Chapter 018 Eating Dog Food. Zhao Lulu was so angry when she heard this. How is this possible? Qin Lang and that school beauty are actually true. And they gave birth to triplets. Qin Lang is so strong? Damn, I'm so annoyed. Qin Lang had to go back to the confinement center at noon to make lunch for Su Shihan, so he didn't stay in school for too long. He went back to the dormitory to chat with his roommates, sorted some things, picked up his backpack and left. When he returned to the confinement center, Su Shihan had already woken up, and the three little babies had just woken up. Su Shihan was a little flustered to feed the baby alone. Qin Lang came back and saw this scene, immediately put down the things in his hands, hugged the crying big baby and coaxed him gently. After the three little babies were full and fell asleep, Su Shihan asked, "Qin Lang, I heard from the nurse that you are back to school, is there something wrong?" She suddenly gave birth prematurely, and Qin Lang accompanied her to the hospital without saying a word. She hadn't been back to school for so many days. She was fine. The school had already completed the credits and asked for leave, but Qin Lang was after all. Qin Lang said, "It's okay. I just went back to make up a leave note. The previous leave note has expired. This time I made up a longer one. I don't have to go back for a month." Su Shihan was a little surprised, with a little doubt in her beautiful eyes. "You asked for a month's vacation. Did the school approve it?" Seeing that she was worried, Qin Lang simply took out his mobile phone and opened the academic affairs system, which had his leave information. "Here, look, this is the vacation that the instructor just approved today, 1 month, not a day less." Su Shihan looked down and saw that it was indeed a month's vacation. But she was still puzzled. Then how did you apply for a vacation from the school? A month's-long vacation should have a very reasonable and formal reason, right? Qin Lang said seriously, I accompany my child's mother to recuperate and take care of 3 hungry little babies. Is this reason not reasonable? Not formal. Su Shihan was stunned and asked in surprise, You really asked for leave like this? Yes. Qin Lang responded calmly. Su Shihan blushed instantly, and her beautiful eyes blinked anxiously. Qin Lang, you are too bold. Qin Lang was touched by her cuteness, and couldn't help it. He stretched out his hand to rub her pink face. Rubbing the left side was not enough, so he simply held her hot pink cheeks with both hands and ravaged them together. Well, what's there to be ashamed of? Now the country is encouraging childbirth, and the second and third child policies have been opened one after another. As contemporary college students and good young people in society, we are actively responding to the call and contributing to the population construction of the motherland. Besides, our family is 1 child and 3 babies. I guess if the country knows about it, it will have to reward us. Qin Lang thought about it and shook his head and said, No, the country can't know. Su Shihan was completely led astray by him and asked subconsciously, Why? Qin Lang said seriously, Look, the country is so encouraging more births now. Our genes are so strong that we can have 3 children in 1 birth. If the country knows about it, then we must have more children. Su Shihan. What do you mean by more children? What is the structure of Qin Lang's brain circuit? She just gave birth to a baby, and Qin Lang was thinking. It's too dirty. Su Shihan felt that she was about to faint from the shame of the plot she imagined. It was too much. Just when the yellow car in Su Shihan's mind was about to drive to the sky, a ringing phone stopped her in time. She picked up the phone, and Lin Xiao's excited voice came over. Hello, Shihan, I'm here. Send me your room number quickly, I want to go upstairs to see my godchildren. Look at the wool. Xiao Xiao, who ruined the atmosphere, hum. Su Shihan told Lin Xiao the room number, and Lin Xiao came soon. As soon as Lin Xiao entered the room, he immediately walked around the room, then sat in front of Su Shihan excitedly and said, Shihan, this confinement center is really good. And this room is too luxurious. When I was downstairs just now, I found that their service attitude here is also really good. It's much better for you to have confinement here than in that small rental house. Su Shihan smiled, looked up at Qin Lang, and said, It was all arranged by Qin Lang. Lin Xiao raised his head and gave Qin Lang a thumbs up with his back to him. Well done, Qin Lang. Qin Lang smiled and said, You guys chat, I'll go downstairs to pick out the ingredients for the confinement meal at noon. After he left, Lin Xiao lowered his voice and said, Doesn't this confinement center prepare confinement meals? Why does Qin Lang have to pick them himself? Su Shihan said sweetly, No, the confinement center has them, but Qin Lang makes them better. He asked to make them for me himself. Lin Xiao felt that someone had stuffed her stomach with dog food, and she was sour after eating it. However, she was really happy for Su Shihan. Qin Lang's performance these days was indeed impeccable. Lin Xiao smiled ambiguously and reached out to touch Su Shihan's face with ill intentions. TSK, no wonder I felt that you looked more radiant when I saw you just now. I thought you had some secret. It turns out that it's because you eat sweet confinement meals every day and are nourished by love tilde. Su Shihan glared at her coquettishly. Xiao Xiao, don't talk nonsense tilde. Isn't it? It's not confinement meals, then could it be? He, Shihan, you and Qin Lang are not. The 2 best friends knew each other's thoughts very well. Su Shihan knew what Lin Xiao wanted to say as soon as she heard it. She raised her hand and gently hit Lin Xiao, and hurriedly said, How is it possible? Lin Xiao nodded, smacked his lips and said, That's right, even if your Qin Lang is impatient, he has to take your current health into consideration. He is not impatient. Su Shihan couldn't help but speak for Qin Lang. Lin Xiao raised his eyebrows, squinted his eyes and smiled maliciously. Why does this sound so regretful? Shihan, it's not you who can't wait, right? Su Shihan was embarrassed and annoyed. Xiao Xiao, you really should wash your head when you take a bath, what are you thinking about all day? Har tilde. Lin Xiao's arrival made the originally lively room even more lively. At noon, Lin Xiao got Su Shihan's confinement meal as he wished, and had a satisfying meal. After dinner, Qin Lang gave her the walnut carving. Lin Xiao couldn't help but praise it frequently when she saw the real thing. So beautiful. Qin Lang, your craftsmanship is amazing. Shihan is right, the real thing is 100 times more amazing than the photo. My old man must like such a majestic and domineering walnut carving. Qin Lang, thank you very much. This is the final payment, I will transfer it to Shihan. Lin Xiao was very happy and quickly transferred the remaining 100,000 to Su Shihan's account. She sat for a while, but she had an urgent matter at work, so she left reluctantly. Before leaving, she took a group photo with the 3 babies. Chapter 019 Naming 3 Babies. Su Shihan looked at the balance of 200,000 yuan in her account and said to Qin Lang with a smile, Qin Lang, I didn't expect you to earn 200,000 yuan so quickly. This is a lot of money. Even if we have 3 babies, it can last for a long time. Qin Lang looked at her excited look, but he couldn't help but feel distressed. Shihan must have had a hard time in the past 8 months. As a sophomore student, she also lives on living expenses. It's no problem to support herself, but she also has to take care of the baby in her belly, rent a house, and hire a nanny. If she wasn't desperate, why would she come to him to borrow money? Qin Lang swore that he would never let the mother of the child and the babies worry about money again. He will take on the burden of the head of the family. After making up his mind, Qin Lang said, What's this? It's just a small amount of money. You can spend it and buy whatever you want. I'll take care of everything else. Su Shihan smiled gently, looked at the babies and said, I don't have anything to buy. It's good like this now, but I want to buy a lot of things for the babies, toys for the brother, beautiful clothes for the 2 sisters, and their cribs, strollers, and rooms to decorate. Okay, let's do it one by one. Qin Lang took out his mobile phone, opened the shopping app, sat on the bed and looked at it with Su Shihan. He sat next to her, and Su Shihan could feel the warmth from Qin Lang's body. Looking down at the phone, she felt it was difficult to focus. In fact, she just casually mentioned her plan, but she didn't expect Qin Lang to look at it with her so seriously. Everything has a response, and everything has a place. This kind of details is the most touching for girls. The 2 of them spent a long time picking things and bought a lot. The rest just needed to be delivered by express. Some furniture needed to be customized, but it was estimated that they would be almost there by the time they left the confinement center. After buying things, Su Shihan was in high spirits. She got up and walked around a few times, and amused the awake babies. The 3 little babies grew up day by day. Today was the 9th day, and the 3 little guys were becoming more and more lovely. Qin Lang and Su Shihan looked after the children together, and the nurses consciously withdrew, leaving this warm moment to their family. Dabao was the older brother, and the only boy among the 3 babies. He grew the fastest and could now stretch out his little hands and anxiously grab something. Seeing this, Qin Lang immediately took out the handmade toys he had carved, soaked them in hot water to disinfect them, and then gave the wooden horse to Dabao. Dabao, who got the toy, instantly grasped his little hands, and looked at the little toy in front of him, and he grinned happily. Erbao and Xiaobao next to them saw that their brother had toys in his hands, and they also reached out anxiously to grab them. Qin Lang then gave them one of the other 2 small animal wood carvings. The 3 Xiaobao took the small toys made by their father and studied them happily. After studying for a while, the little guys began to put the toys in their mouths. Fortunately, Qin Lang had done the disinfection work in advance. Su Shihan felt that this scene was super warm, so she took out her mobile phone and recorded this scene. Qin Lang, the babies don't have names yet, let's give them names tilde, Su Shihan said. It's easy to call them Chen Dabao, Erbao, and Xiaobao, but the child has been born for 9 days, and he really deserves a big name. Qin Lang immediately said, Okay, then I'll get a dictionary and we'll name the babies. The 2 of them took the dictionary and flipped through it with great interest, and found that there were more beautiful words. For a moment, both of them were a little difficult to choose. Qin Lang said, You should name the babies. Su Shihan shook her head, You should do it. It's more appropriate for you to name the children. The 2 were deadlocked, and Qin Lang simply said, Then let's play rock paper scissors. Whoever wins will decide. Su Shihan nodded, and the 2 agreed to play a round to decide the winner. Su Shihan played rock, and Qin Lang played cloth. Qin Lang won. I won, so you should name the babies. Su Shihan pouted, but she was willing to admit defeat. Okay. Su Shihan was about to think of a name, and suddenly she thought of a question, that is, she looked at Qin Lang, her eyelashes fluttered, and asked, Qin Lang, then, whose surname will the babies take? Qin Lang said without thinking, Of course my surname. I'm the children's father. The babies should naturally take their father's surname. When Su Shihan heard this, she lowered her head slightly and smiled with her pink lips. He said he was the children's father, and the babies all took his last name, so wouldn't the baby's household registration be in his household registration book? Then as the baby's mother, should I be included? Is Qin Lang's intention to marry her? This thought made Su Shihan's cheeks burn. She cleared her throat and walked towards the three babies with a dictionary. I thought about it and decided to let the babies name themselves. How do the babies name themselves? Qin Lang asked. Su Shihan shook the dictionary in her hand. Use this as a prop for them. Let the babies open it and choose their own names. Qin Lang smiled. This is a good idea, but Shihan, such a random method. You are not just for the convenience of passing the buck when the babies ask about their own names in the future. Su Shihan's little thoughts were poked. She shyly stuck out her tongue and said a little arrogantly, "Is this democracy? Anyway, the babies' names are all chosen by themselves. No matter whether they think it sounds good or not in the future, they can't blame me as a mother." Qin Lang was amused by her sudden cleverness and took out his mobile phone and said, "Then I will take a video as evidence, so that the babies will not believe it in the future." Su Shihan saw him accompanying her to make trouble, and sweet bubbles came out of her heart. She took the dictionary and explained the situation to the babies first. Of course, the ignorant Dabao, Erbao and Xiaobao in the crib had no idea that their parents, with a gentle smile on their faces, were digging a pit for them. Dabao saw the new toy, the dictionary, and curiously reached out to grab it. He was strong and turned to the middle of the dictionary in one go, with his thumb on the word Xian. Qin Lang and Su Shihan smiled at each other, and Qin Lang said, "Our Dabao is very good at choosing. The word Xian represents the sun and warmth. He will definitely be a great brother in the future, right, little Qin Xian?" Dabao didn't know what happened, but when he saw his parents smiling at him, he also smiled happily. Erbao and Xiaobao also decided on their names in the same way. Because Erbao and Xiaobao are daughters, Su Shihan thinks that 3-character names for girls sound better, so the two little guys each turned it over twice. Finally, Erbao named himself Qin Yutong and Xiaobao named himself Qin Kasin. Qin Lang was very satisfied with the two names. He held one of his daughters in one hand and said, "Our Yutong and Kasin will definitely be super beautiful babies when they grow up, because they have great aesthetics since childhood, and the names they choose are also nice." Right, Yutong, Kasin? Erbao and Xiaobao laughed in Qin Lang's arms, as if they agreed with their father's point of view. So far, the naming of the 3 little babies of the Qin family has ended in such a very democratic way. Chapter 020. When applying for the birth certificate, my mother called. After the baby's name was chosen, Su Shihan thought about the birth certificate. Qin Lang, when I was chatting with Tutu's mother next door today, she told me that we should go to the hospital where the babies were born to get the birth certificate before the full month, otherwise it would be troublesome to get it later. Why don't we go and get it in the next few days? Qin Lang was stunned. He had forgotten that there was a birth certificate. It seems that as a novice father, he really has a lot to learn. Okay, I want to check what materials are needed to apply for a birth certificate. Qin Lang put Yutong and Kasin back in the crib, and then took out his mobile phone to check the information. It's quite simple. We only need our ID cards. The hospital has archived other information about the baby. Then I'll go and apply for it tomorrow. You are not mobile, so give me your ID card and I'll go there. Su Shihan's beautiful eyes were slightly stunned when she heard it, and her eyes dodged unconsciously. Qin Lang looked at her curiously. "What's wrong?" Su Shihan said, "How about I go with you? I've been feeling much better these days, and I've been walking around the confinement center every day. It's no problem to go to the hospital." "Of course not. You're exercising by walking around the confinement center, but you can't go out and get blown by the wind," Qin Lang said seriously. Su Shihan was powerless to refute, and continued, "Then can I not have my ID card? You are the father of the children, isn't your ID card enough?" "Of course it's not enough, we are both the guardians of the babies." "Qin Lang, this is it, my ID card. I accidentally lost it a few days ago, and I haven't had time to reissue it. Otherwise, let's put the birth certificate on hold." Su Shihan lied with a guilty conscience. Qin Lang saw through her thoughts at a glance when he saw her little expression. But he didn't expose her, but followed her words and said, "That's okay, it's nothing more than I have to go one more trip to the Public Security Bureau to reissue a temporary one for you." Su Shihan was anxious. "Still, can you get a temporary one?" Qin Lang nodded seriously. Of course, otherwise how can the babies take the bus without an ID card? They all go to the public security window to apply for temporary documents. The process is very simple and it only takes a few minutes. This is half true and half false. It's okay to get a temporary ID card if you lose your ID card, but you also need to be in person. However, Su Shihan, who was lying, didn't think that Qin Lang was lying to her at all. Su Shihan pouted slightly, and her little face was a little melancholy and she didn't speak. Qin Lang looked at her with a smile and asked, Shihan, why don't you want to give me your ID card? Are you afraid that I will sell you out? Su Shihan shook her head immediately. Of course not. Yes, it's mine, my ID photo. It's not very good looking. She pursed her lips after she finished speaking, and grabbed the hem of her clothes with both hands. Then I'll give it to you, but you can't laugh at me. She took out her ID card from her bag and held it tightly in her hand, making the final compromise. Qin Lang nodded and said seriously, Don't worry, I will definitely not laugh. After hearing his assurance, Su Shihan slowly handed over her ID card. Qin Lang got the ID card and looked down at the little beauty on it. This photo was probably taken a few years ago. Su Shihan in it looked much younger than now. She still had bangs at that time. She was slightly smiling in the photo, with a small dimple at the corner of her mouth, looking very cute. Qin Lang looked at the photo seriously and couldn't help but tsk. Su Shihan was nervous to begin with. Seeing Qin Lang's reaction, she immediately said in shame, Qin Lang, you said you wouldn't laugh at me tilde. I didn't laugh. Qin Lang picked up the ID card. Shihan, you are in Versailles. What Versailles? Su Shihan was puzzled. This photo is as beautiful as an artistic photo. Did you do it on purpose just now? Hey, you're pretending. Qin Lang praised with a smile. Su Shihan's cheeks flushed, and she couldn't hide her smile. She really didn't have Versailles tilde. She just thought that the photo was a bit silly, and she didn't expect Qin Lang to think it looked good tilde. The next morning, Qin Lang arranged the things at the confinement center and went to the hospital with his ID. After handing over the 2 ID cards, the staff quickly started to go through the process. At this time, Qin Lang's mobile phone suddenly rang. He looked down and saw that it was a call from his mother, and Qin Lang answered it immediately. Before he could speak, the nurse at the window suddenly confirmed with him, the baby's father's name is Qin Lang, right? Qin Lang immediately said, yes, that's right, Qin Lang, the wave of waves. After that, he picked up the phone and called to the other end of the phone, Mom. Qin's mother on the phone heard her son's voice and immediately put away her doubts. She decided to think about the voice she just heard after the call. She smiled and said, Hey, son tilde. Mom, why are you calling me at this time? Qin Lang asked. Isn't it okay now? Are you busy? Do you have classes? No, I don't have classes this morning, but you and Dad always call me at night. Why did you call me in the morning today? Yes, your dad and I are usually afraid that you have classes during the day, so we always wait for you in the dormitory at night before calling you. Today is an emergency, and I have good news to tell you tilde, Qin's mother said happily on the other end of the phone. Qin Lang listened to his mother's laughter, and his whole person softened. He leaned against the wall and chatted with his mother. What good news makes our Ms. Ding so happy? Your aunt just called me and said that your cousin Shushu will get married at the end of this year, and the date is set for the 26th of the 12th lunar month. Really? That's really good news, but I remember that cousin Shushu went on a blind date during the summer vacation. He's getting married so soon. Mother Qin laughed twice, and suddenly whispered, Yes, I think it's coming soon too. Your aunt secretly told me that it's because your cousin's wife is pregnant. I'll tell you about this, don't make it public yet, and don't talk to your cousin Shushu. After all, the first 3 months are not stable, and your cousin is pregnant. My aunt's family hasn't made it public yet, they just shared it with me secretly. I know, Mom, this is good news, Aunt must be very happy. Well, your aunt couldn't stop smiling when she called me tilde. Your cousin Shushu is 30 years old this year. Your aunt was very anxious because he hasn't found a partner for so many years after graduation. This time, not only is he getting married soon, but he also has a child. It's really a double happiness. Qin's mother on the other end of the phone was really happy. Qin Lang listened to his mother's joy and couldn't help thinking that if his mother knew that she already had triplets and 2 granddaughters, she would probably be happier than now, right? But there was no rush for this matter. After all, he and the mother of the child hadn't progressed to that stage yet. If his parents knew about Shihan and the babies, they would probably be eager to see their daughter-in-law and grandchildren. Qin Lang was afraid that Su Shihan would be under pressure at that time. He had to deal with the mother of the child here first, and then share the good news with his parents. Chapter 021 I met my mother-in-law by chance. The mother of the triplets is my daughter. Son, how are you doing in school recently? Asked Qin's mother. I'm fine, Mom. You and Dad take good care of yourselves. Don't worry about me. School is doing well. Qin Lang said. That's good. Your dad and I are fine too. Don't worry about us. By the way, do you have enough money? If not, tell Mom and I'll ask your dad to transfer the money to you. No, Mom. I have enough living expenses. Besides, you have a lot of free time in college. I, your son, have other income. You're working part-time. Son, you don't have to worry about money. College is all about studying hard and enjoying life. You'll have plenty of time to earn money when you work in the future, so don't work too hard. Listening to his mother's concern, Qin Lang felt warm in his heart. He lowered his voice and said, I know. By the way, son, you are a sophomore this year. Do you have a girlfriend at school? Qin's mother asked curiously. Qin Lang couldn't help but laugh. Not only did he have a girlfriend, he even had a child. Mom, are you in such a hurry? Har har, Mom is not anxious, it's just that you are in college now, you can have a relationship. Mom, if I not only found a girlfriend in college but also got you a grandchild, how would you and my dad feel? Qin Lang asked tentatively. Mother Qin was stunned for a moment, then said excitedly, That's great. Your father and I are so happy that we can't sleep for several days and nights. Har har, son, is there something wrong with you? Qin Lang was amused by her exaggerated tone. Just then, the nurse next to him indicated that the birth certificate had been processed. Qin Lang quickly said to his mother on the other end of the phone, It's okay, Mom, I won't talk to you for now. I have something to do outside now. I'll call you later. You and Dad take good care of yourselves. Okay, your dad and I are fine. You go ahead and get busy, son. Mother Qin quickly quickened her speaking speed and finished the last sentence. Qin Lang just hung up the phone. Mother Qin held the phone in her hand, and couldn't help but recall the conversation she heard when the call was first connected. The child's father is Qin Lang? She definitely didn't hear it wrong, that definite voice belonged to her son, Qin Lang, their Lang in waves, it was undoubtedly their son. When Qin Ma thought of a possibility, she became excited. Lao Qin. Come here quickly. Qin Guangwei came over and asked, What's wrong? What did your son say? Mother Qin looked at him with sharp eyes and said mysteriously, Old Qin, I think something is wrong with our Lang at school. Qin Guangwei frowned, What's going on? When I was calling my son just now, I heard. Mother Qin told Father Qin the conversation she heard at the beginning. After hearing this, Qin Guangwei was a little confused. He looked up after a while and said in disbelief, No way, did you hear it wrong? Impossible. Mother Qin insisted, I definitely didn't hear it wrongly. It was our son who said it himself. And when I asked him if he had a girlfriend, not only did he not answer, he also told me that if he not only had a girlfriend, but also had a grandson, this must not be something he said casually. Mother Qin couldn't hide her excitement. She grabbed Father Qin's arm and said, Old Qin, what do you think? Are we going to be grandparents? Father Qin took a deep breath. As soon as this thought came to his mind, he felt that he was no longer calm. I'm going to smoke a cigarette. He rushed to the balcony and lit a cigarette. After smoking half of it, I finally calmed down a little. Qin Guangwei turned around and said, Let's call our son later to confirm this. If this is true, we have to make plans early. What are the plans? Are we going to see our son and daughter-in-law? Qin's mother asked excitedly. Qin Guangwei looked at her helplessly and said, You have a nice idea. Since my son didn't say anything, it means the situation is definitely different from what we thought. But no matter what, my son has a girlfriend, and she may be pregnant. The living expenses given to him before are definitely not enough. I will transfer some money to him later. Mother Qin nodded quickly and walked around the room happily. That's great. Lao Qin, if our son really finds a partner in college, that would be great. The relationships in school are pure. It won't be that easy once you start working. Look at Shushu, he's almost 30 and is not getting married yet. Qin Guangwei also smiled, and couldn't help but look forward to the scene of his son bringing his pregnant daughter-in-law home. In the hospital, Qin Lang walked out with the 3 birth certificates he had just issued, intending to go directly back to the confinement center. Just as he reached the door, a cell phone rang and a lady bumped into him head-on. Qin Lang couldn't dodge in time and could only help her up, but the things in his hand fell down. After the other party stood firm, he quickly apologized, "I'm sorry." Then he helped Qin Lang pick up the things on the ground. There are 3 birth certificates. Did she give birth to triplets? She couldn't help but look at the mother's column on the birth certificate with curiosity. It says, child's mother, Su Shihan. When Fang Yaxian saw the familiar name, Su Shihan, she couldn't help but feel a pang in her heart, because it was exactly the same as her daughter's name. Not a single word wrong. Behind it was the child's mother's ID number, and she quickly lowered her head to look at it. "I want to verify their horrible thought in my mind." Just as she saw the 4 digits on the front of her ID card, a slender hand suddenly reached out and took the birth certificate from her hand. Qin Lang took the 3 birth certificates and said politely, "Thank you." Fang Yaxian raised her head and looked at Qin Lang. Qin Lang was very handsome, tall and sunny. He was 1.85 meters tall, which was particularly eye-catching in the south where most boys were around 1.7 meters tall. Fang Yaxian was a little dazed by what she saw. "Auntie, are you okay?" Qin Lang asked politely. Fang Yaxian quickly shook her head. "It's okay, sorry, I was busy looking for my phone to answer the call just now, and I didn't notice that I bumped into you, I'm so sorry." Qin Lang shook his head and was about to walk away when Fang Yaxian suddenly asked, "Handsome guy, are you here to apply for a birth certificate?" Seeing Qin Lang's confusion, Fang Yaxian pointed to the birth certificate in Qin Lang's hand and explained with a smile, "I just saw it by accident. I didn't expect that you would become a father at such a young age. Congratulations." "Thank you." Qin Lang just responded. Facing the stranger, he didn't chat much. Fang Yaxian was obviously aware of the other party's attitude. She asked one more question just now because she actually wanted to find the boy and look at the number behind the ID card in the mother's column on the birth certificate to see if it was the same as her daughter's. But she thought about it again and felt that it was impossible. Her daughter was only a sophomore, how could she possibly have a child? It must be a duplicate name. But the first 4 digits on the ID card are the same as my daughter's. The first 2 digits represent the province, and the 3rd and 4th digits represent the code of the city within the province. Chapter 022. Is she really my daughter? These 4 numbers are the same, which means that the mother of the child on the birth certificate, Su Shihan, not only has the same name as her daughter, but also lives in the same place as her daughter, Yancheng, Guangdong Province. Isn't this too coincidental? When Fang Yaxian wanted to say a few more words to Qin Lang had already walked away. Fang Yaxian stared at Qin Lang's departing back in a daze. At this moment, Fang Yaxian's phone rang again. She shook her head and said, "This should all be a coincidence. After all, there are too many people with the same name. Even if they are from the same place, there is a high possibility that there are people with the same name. It's definitely not my daughter. My daughter is so well behaved. She has never been in a relationship from elementary school to college. How could she suddenly have a child? And they gave birth to triplets, which requires a lot of genetic factors. My family doesn't even have the gene for twins, let alone the gene for triplets. It seems like I haven't seen my daughter for a long time. Everything I see reminds me of her. This time I must see my precious daughter properly to relieve my longing for her." After brainwashing herself, Fang Yaxian came back to her senses. This time she found an empty seat and took out her cell phone from her bag. The call was from her husband. Fang Yaxian answered, "Lao Su, why do you keep calling me? I just bumped into someone trying to answer your call." Father Su on the other end of the phone asked with concern, "Did you hit someone? Are you okay?" "It's okay," Fang Yaxian smiled when she heard her husband's concern. "I just bumped into a young man at the hospital entrance." "Aren't you going to see your daughter? Why are you going to the hospital?" Su's father asked with a frown, a hint of worry in his tone. "I'm going to see my daughter, but it was raining when I went to the airport yesterday. It was a bit windy, and I have a headache now." I'm afraid I might catch a cold. I'm worried that I might infect my daughter, so I want to go to the hospital first and get some medicine. When Su Shihan found out she was pregnant last summer, she returned to school early. During the winter vacation, her belly had already grown big. She was afraid her parents would find out, so she used her internship as an excuse not to go home for the new year. So Su's parents hadn't seen their daughter for half a year. This time Fang Yaxian came to Zhonghai because she received a wedding invitation from an old friend. The other party's grandson is going to hold a full-month banquet tomorrow night, so she came a day early on purpose and planned to come and see her daughter. Father Su felt relieved after hearing this and said, "Then you should also be careful. If you really have a cold, take some medicine and then go see your daughter." Fang Yaxian smiled unhappily and said, "I know. I won't pass the cold to my precious daughter. By the way, Lao Su, the young man I bumped into at the hospital gate just now came to the hospital to apply for a birth certificate for his child. When I picked up the certificate for him, I saw our daughter's name was written in the baby mother column. It was exactly the same. Lao Su, do you think our daughter is pregnant? I see that young man is very good looking, tall, and handsome. Most importantly, he is very young. He looks like a college student, about the same age as my daughter. Do you think he will?" "Oh, I wanted to see the ID number at that time, but the other party took the birth certificate away and I didn't see it," Fang Yaxian said with some regret. Father Su on the other end of the phone was slightly shocked, but then he said, "Don't let your imagination run wild. How is this possible? How old is our daughter? She's not even 20 yet, and she's just a sophomore in college. How could she possibly have a child?" Fang Yaxian smiled and said, "Yeah, I also think it's unlikely. Besides, Lao Su, I just saw that there are 3 birth certificates, which means triplets. Young people nowadays are really strong. Old Su, if our daughter gave birth to triplets in the future, you and I would be so happy. Our home would be so lively all of a sudden." Listening to her wild thoughts, Father Su smiled and said, "That's nonsense. We don't have that gene. What are you thinking about doing so early? You have caught a cold. Go see a doctor right away. Go to your daughter's school to see her. I checked her schedule online. She doesn't have classes this afternoon. She's probably in the dormitory. Go directly to her dormitory and give her a surprise." Fang Yaxian came back to her senses and immediately said, "Great. This little girl never went home for the new year after she went to college. She must be very happy that I suddenly showed up this time. Well, don't forget to go to the mall and buy some more things, including snacks that your daughter likes, as well as seasonal clothes and bags. Buy her more. When you see her, take her out to eat something good. The school cafeteria is definitely not as good as home. Okay, stop nagging. If you miss your daughter so much, why don't you come with me?" Fang Yaxian said with a smile. Father Su's face froze, and he said a little embarrassedly, "Why should I go? She won't even come back to see me as her father. TSK, you're just being stubborn. I don't know who has been telling me this and that since I received the call the day before yesterday." Su's father said with a stubborn face, suppressing the corners of his mouth that were slowly rising, "Okay, I won't talk to you anymore. Go see a doctor and don't catch a cold. By the way, when you have dinner with your daughter tonight, send me a video if you have nothing to do." "I know. I promise to let you see our precious daughter." Fang Yaxian hung up the phone with a smile. When Qin Lang returned to the confinement center, Su Shihan was awake. "Is the birth certificate ready?" she asked, standing up. "Kindness. Let me see Tilda." Qin Lang handed her the 3 certificates in his hand. Su Shihan took them and looked at them carefully as if they were treasures. With a yellow background and a green border, the base map shows the shape of the country's map. The first column contains the baby's names, dates of birth, and places of birth. Next comes the mother's name and ID number, followed by the father's name and ID number. Seeing her name and Qin Lang's name appearing here side by side, Su Shihan had a very strange feeling in her heart. Mother, father. It seemed as if there was suddenly some kind of inseparable relationship between her and Qin Lang, and the bond that maintained this relationship was 3 lovely babies. Su Shihan took out her cell phone and took careful photos to keep. Then she walked to the stroller with the birth certificate and spoke to the 3 sleeping babies. "Little Qin Xian, little Qin Yuton, little Qin Kasan, these are your 3 birth certificates. From now on, you will have your own identity certificates Tilda. Her voice was very soft and gentle, and it made people feel like being gently scratched by a kitten's claws. Qin Lang walked over and looked down at the 3 little babies with her. The little ones were sleeping soundly, their rosy little faces looked like peeled eggs, so bouncy that Qin Lang couldn't help but want to reach out and pinch them. Chapter 023, Don't pinch your baby's face, or he will drool. But before he could touch Dabao's face, Su Shihan suddenly grabbed him. No, you can't play with the baby's face. He'll drool. Then Su Shihan patiently explained, the skin on a baby's face is very thin and delicate. The parotid gland tissue in the mouth has not yet fully developed and is very fragile and easily harmed by the outside world. If the baby's face is often pinched, it will damage the baby's glands and cause drooling, which will have a certain impact on the baby's health. Qin Lang withdrew his hand. He didn't expect that taking care of a baby really requires a lot of details. He said, okay, I won't pinch the baby's face, but can I touch it? You can touch it gently, but don't use force. Su Shihan said. Okay, don't worry, I'll be gentle and won't hurt our baby. Qin Lang carefully stretched out his hand and gently touched the little faces of his son and daughter. The touch of the baby's faces is really great. So cute tilde. No wonder babies are the cutest and most magical creatures in the world, no matter they are crying, angry or laughing, and adults love them endlessly. After touching them for a while, Qin Lang let go of his hands, fearing that he would lose control of his strength and pinch his beloved daughter and son's faces. It is a pleasure for him to just watch the babies sleep. Under the loving gaze of their parents, the 3 little babies woke up slowly. First, the 3rd baby cried in his sleep, and then the 2nd baby was startled, his little body twitched, and he also started crying with his mouth pouted. Dabao was woken up by his 2 younger sisters. He opened his eyes and was stunned for a moment, then soon started crying together. Every time the babies wake up, a trio of cries takes place in the ward. Qin Lang and Su Shihan have become familiar with this and are no longer as jumpy as they were when they first became parents. Now they calmly pick up the little ones and prepare to feed them. The childcare nurses outside also came in. With the help of 3 professional nurses, the 3 little ones soon stopped crying. Mr. Qin, Mrs. Qin, after the babies finish their milk, don't let them sleep. Today, their hospital has arranged for a professional maternal and child nurse to come to your home to vaccinate the babies with BCG vaccines. The babies are awake now, so give them the vaccines and then bring them back to sleep. The 3 babies were given the hepatitis B vaccine soon after they were born, but the BCG vaccine was not given at the same time. Because they were triplets and were born prematurely, their constitutions were weaker than those of ordinary babies when they were born, and the vaccine was for a mild virus, so only the first dose of the hepatitis B vaccine was given at that time. The 3 little ones now sleep about 18-22 hours a day, and it is better to get the vaccine when they are awake, so it is just the right time to take them for the vaccination. So after finishing the milk, Qin Lang and Su Shihan each held one of their daughters, and the nurse next to them held the eldest baby, Qin Xian, and they went to the vaccination room together. The obstetrician and gynecologist was a kind-looking middle-aged female doctor. When she saw the cute triplets, she immediately smiled. The babies are so cute. Their parents are so good-looking. The babies have been handsome boys and beautiful girls since they were young tilde. When Qin Lang and Su Shihan heard this, smiles appeared on their faces. The doctor was preparing the vaccines over there. After taking out the refrigerated vaccines, they had to be left for a while to warm up. Qin Lang and the others sat beside them holding the babies and waiting. The 3 little guys are very sober now. Yutong lay on Qin Lang's shoulder, her soft little face pressed by Qin Lang's shoulder blade, with a drop of crystal clear saliva hanging on the side of her mouth. The little guy exhaled curiously and blew out a small bubble. This experience was very novel. She blew it a few more times as if she had discovered a new world, and a "tu-tu-tu" sound came out of her mouth. Su Shihan saw it and said with a smile, Qin Lang, look, Bao is blowing bubbles tilde. Qin Lang turned his head and saw a small piece of saliva on his shoulder, but it was his daughter's saliva. He didn't think it was dirty at all. Instead, he felt that the feeling was wonderful. Looking at Yutong happily blowing bubbles, he smiled like a kind father. Little cousin was not idle either. She curiously grabbed everything she could get in her mother's arms, such as Su Shihan's clothes and Su Shihan's hair. Although the little guy is not big, he has great strength in his hands. Once he clenched his fist, he would not let go. Su Shihan tied her hair into a bun, but there were some loose hairs around her ears. Xiaokasin grabbed those loose hairs and played with them happily. Hiss, it hurts Tilderkasin, mommy's hair is not a toy. When Cushion heard her mother's voice, she didn't let go. Instead, she waved her hands even more happily, as if she was playing with her mother. Babies are so energetic, the doctor said as he came forward to help free Su Shihan's little strands of hair. Although Dabao was held by the nurse, his little hands kept pulling his mother's clothes. Seeing this, Qin Lang couldn't bear to see his son being left out, so he simply reached out and held his son and second daughter on his shoulders, one in each hand. The babies are still small, and Qin Lang's arms are strong and powerful, so it's no problem for him to hold them at the same time. The brother and sister got together and immediately grabbed each other's hands and started playing happily. The three children had a great time, and Qin Lang and Su Shihan were also in a good mood, until the doctor over there took out the syringe. The babies, who were only 10 days old, didn't know what the syringe meant, but Su Shihan, as a mother, became nervous first. She hugged Cushion and asked, "Doctor, will this vaccine hurt?" The doctor looked at her and smiled, "No, don't worry, baby mom. I have been in this field for 30 years and my skills are very good." Su Shihan was even more nervous than the little treasure in her arms. She couldn't tell whether the words she said were to comfort Cushion or herself. "It's okay, baby. The doctor is very professional. She fixed it in no time. It won't hurt." Cushion looked at her mother in a daze, her big black eyes showing innocence. Seeing this, Qin Lang comforted her, "It's okay, Shihan, it's just a vaccination. The babies have already received a shot when they were born." Su Shihan pouted and whispered, "But I wasn't there at the time. Now that I'm seeing it with my own eyes, I can't help but be nervous." Qin Lang didn't expect that when the babies were getting vaccinations, he had to comfort their mothers before he could comfort the babies. "It's okay. The doctor is very professional. Maybe our baby will be over before he even reacts." The doctor also said, "I'll be there soon." Seeing that everyone was comforting her, Su Shihan blushed a little embarrassedly, "Thank you, doctor." Dabao was the first brother to get the injection. The little guy curiously lay in his father's arms and let Qin Lang take off the clothes on his arms. Chapter 024 Daughter, guess where I am now? The doctor's technique was very professional. He inserted the needle, injected the vaccine, removed the needle, and pressed the cotton swab. All in one smooth movement, the whole process took only 10 seconds. During the whole process, Dabao kept his big black eyes open, as if he felt nothing. The little guy was very manly and he didn't cry until the doctor took out the injection. Su Shihan heaved a sigh of relief and said, "It seems like it doesn't hurt that much." Dabao didn't even feel it. The doctor smiled and said nothing. Then it was Erbao's turn. But when it came to Yuton, the little guy started to struggle violently as soon as the needle was inserted. Fortunately, Qin Lang held the baby tightly and stabilized his arm. What tilde, Su Shihan looked anxious as her second baby cried. When it came to the third baby Cushion, the little one started crying before she even got the injection. Perhaps she was infected by her sister's sadness. The little one was very resistant to the syringe. Qin Lang could only take Cushion and hold her while he finished the injection with difficulty. Afterwards, he and Su Shihan held their two daughters and comforted them for a long time before the two little ones gradually stopped sobbing quietly. Su Shihan asked the doctor worriedly, "Doctor, are the babies okay? Why didn't Dabao feel any pain when getting the shot, but Erbao and Xiaobao cried so hard? Does this vaccine hurt more for girls?" The doctor smiled and explained, "No, baby mother, the vaccine is the same for every baby. It's just that some babies' pain nerves grow more slowly. For example, Dabao may not feel the pain very strongly yet." After hearing the doctor's scientific explanation, Su Shihan finally understood. Then, the doctor reminded them of the precautions for the later stages, such as the babies cannot take a bath on the same day after the injection, and they must be careful to avoid the injection site, as pus and scabs will occur in about 4 weeks, and the babies must be frequently changed into close-fitting clothes and not wear tight clothes. Qin Lang wrote down these key points one by one. Zhonghai University. Fang Yaxian came to the downstairs of the girls' dormitory building carrying several large bags of things. She put the packages down first, took out her mobile phone, took a few photos and sent them to Su's father. "Lao Su, I'm downstairs at my daughter's building now. I'll go up to see her later." "Father Su, don't tell your daughter, give her a surprise." Fang Yaxian, I know. I've been holding it in all the way. My daughter will definitely be very happy when she sees that I have all these snacks and beautiful clothes that she likes. Father Su, did you buy a lot of things? Remember to leave some money for your daughter. She may not like what you buy. Let her buy it herself. Fang Yaxian, don't worry, I'm ready. I won't tell you anymore. I have to go see my daughter first. I can't wait to see her surprised expression. Father Su, don't forget to video chat with me. Fang Yaxian smiled, put away her phone, picked up the package at hand, went to the door to register, and then walked directly to room 333 upstairs. When her daughter started school, she and Lao Su personally came to see her daughter off. She still remembers exactly where her daughter's dormitory is. Fang Yaxian went directly to room 333 on the third floor. Standing at the door, she knocked on the door with great anticipation. But after knocking for a long time, there was no response from inside the dormitory. Fang Yaxian was puzzled. Didn't my daughter say she didn't have classes right now? Why does it seem like there's no one in the dormitory? Fang Yaxian took out her cell phone and wanted to call her daughter, but after thinking about it, she gave up. If she called, the surprise her daughter would have when she saw her later would be greatly reduced. So she knocked on the door again. The noise finally attracted the attention of the dormitory opposite. The door of the dormitory opposite opened quickly, and a young female college student poked her hairy head out. Hello, are you looking for a classmate from 333? What can I do for you? Fang Yaxian turned around and said with a smile, Hello, classmate. I am the parent of classmate 333. They don't have classes today, but there seems to be no one in the dormitory. Do you know where they went? When the female student opposite heard that it was a parent, she immediately came out and said with a smile, Auntie, we don't have classes today, but several classmates from 333 went out for dinner. They said they were going to eat hot pot and sing or something. Didn't you contact your daughter before you came? I wanted to give her a surprise, so I didn't tell her, Fang Yaxian explained. The other party nodded, Oh, but they will probably be back very late tonight, or they may not come at all. Sometimes we college students go out to sing all night to save some money, and singing at night is cheaper. Otherwise, you should give them a call, or I'm afraid you'll be waiting here in vain. After hearing this, Fang Yaxian chatted with the student opposite her for a while, took some snacks from the snack bag and asked her to take them back to the dormitory to share, and then went downstairs with her things. I originally wanted to give my daughter a surprise, but I didn't expect it to be such an unfortunate coincidence that my daughter happened to be out playing. It seems that she can only call her daughter, otherwise she might not be able to see her precious daughter today. Fang Yaxian took out her cell phone and called Su Shihan. She planned to go directly to her daughter later and invite a few children to sing together. Her daughter would definitely be happy. At this time, Su Shihan didn't know what was happening at school. She had just coaxed her 3 little babies to sleep when her cell phone rang. Su Shihan looked down and saw the note, Mom, on it. She couldn't help but feel a little panicked. She is in a confinement center now. Why would her mother suddenly call her at this time? The phone in her hand kept vibrating, but Su Shihan didn't dare to answer it. I didn't dare hang up, for fear that my mother would call me via video later. Qin Lang saw her staring blankly at her phone and glanced down. When he saw that it was Su Shihan's mother calling, he immediately understood. Su Shihan probably didn't tell her family about her pregnancy, otherwise her parents wouldn't have said nothing for so many days after giving birth. Moreover, she rented a house and hired a nanny outside of school, and she came to him for help when she encountered financial problems. Qin Lang knew the situation and didn't walk away. He reached out and gently patted her shoulder, looking at her with encouraging eyes. Shihan, I'm here, answer your mother's call. Su Shihan looked up at Qin Lang, and seeing his gentle expression, she seemed to have a sense of support. She then picked up the phone at the end of the ringing tone. Hello, Mom. Su Shihan's voice was very pleasant, with a cool and warm feeling like jade. Hearing her daughter's voice, Fang Yaxian on the other end of the phone was very excited because she was about to see her daughter. My dear daughter, guess where I am? When Su Shihan heard this, alarm bells immediately rang in her heart. Could it be that her mother came to Zhonghai? Otherwise, why would he suddenly say this? Chapter 025 Mom really came to Zhonghai. But if my mother hadn't come to Zhonghai, she wouldn't have suddenly said this. After thinking for a while, she asked tentatively, Mom, you should be watching TV and doing your manicure at home now, right? No, har har, I'm in Zhonghai. Her mother's excited words on the phone were like a thunderbolt, leaving Su Shihan speechless. Mom really came to Zhonghai. My mother came to Zhonghai and called her specially. She must have come to see her. What should I do? She is in the confinement center now. And gave birth to 3 babies. Can't we hide the baby's affairs anymore? However, if her mother knew that she had given birth to a child when she was only a sophomore in college, she could not imagine what the consequences would be. Because her parents didn't allow her to have a relationship since she was a child, not to mention that she had a child while she was still in college. She must never let her mom know about having a baby, otherwise she will beat her to death. Her parents have been very strict with her since she was a child. They didn't allow her to have a romantic relationship. They also told her when she went to college that girls should focus on their studies and careers and not have a romantic relationship in college. When she thought of this, Su Shihan felt her whole body trembling, but she still forced herself to calm down. He smiled and asked, "Mom, why did you suddenly come to Zhonghai?" Fang Yaxian smiled and said, "Mom is here to attend the full moon banquet of your Aunt Wang's granddaughter. I happened to be coming to Zhonghai, so I came a day early and planned to come and see you. Your dad wanted to come too, but since it's not a holiday, he couldn't leave, so he sent me to come see you. I just went to your dormitory and I'm walking towards the school gate now." Hearing this, Su Shihan almost dropped the phone in her hand. My mother went to her dormitory. Could it be that my mother found out that she had asked for a long vacation from school? No, my mother's tone seemed like she didn't know anything, otherwise she wouldn't be talking to her with a smile, and for a while. Her roommates didn't know that she was pregnant because after she found out she was pregnant, she took a month off from all her credits for the entire semester and moved out of the dormitory before her belly got bigger. The reason she moved out of the dormitory was because she was concerned that college students might be criticized for getting pregnant and having children, so she thought it through very carefully. "Honey, your classmates across the hall said that you guys are having a party. Where are you? Mom will go find you. I've paid for your bills today. Send me your location now." Su Shihan held the phone tightly. Within just a few seconds, countless reasons had already come up in her super brain. Finally, she said to the phone, "Mom, this is too unfortunate. I didn't go to the dinner party with my roommates today. I accepted an assignment from the school and am now at the ancient capital Jietong University discussing academic issues with my classmates here." Fang Yaxian was stunned. Su Shihan said with a look of regret, "Mom, you can call me in advance next time so that I can make an appointment with you, so that we won't miss each other." Fang Yaxian heard that her daughter was not in Zhonghai but in the ancient capital. However, she was very proud to learn that her daughter went to the ancient capital for academic exchange. She smiled and asked, "Daughter, when will you come back?" Su Shihan estimated the time her mother would come to attend the full moon banquet this time and said, "Mom, I just arrived at Jietong University yesterday. This exchange will take a week." "1 week of exchange, that's good, dear daughter, have a good exchange over there." "Well, Mom, I know you and Dad miss me a lot. Don't worry, I will definitely go back home to celebrate the new year during this winter vacation. Then our family can be reunited." Fang Yaxian asked, "You're not going back until winter vacation? What about summer vacation? It's 2 months long, aren't you going home?" Su Shihan glanced at the 3 little babies in the crib. It was already May, and summer vacation would start in 2 months. The babies would still be young by then, and she would definitely be unable to leave them. "Mom, I'm still unsure about the summer vacation. The school may have some arrangements, but I will definitely go home when I have time, so don't worry." Fang Yaxian didn't think much about it. She thought that if her daughter didn't come back during the summer vacation, she would bring her husband to Zhonghai to live for a while during the summer vacation. Her daughter's studies and career were the most important. Su Shihan didn't want to be led on this topic by her mother, fearing that she might accidentally let something slip, so she took the initiative to take control of the conversation and turned the topic to her mother, asking, "By the way, Mom, you said you were here to attend Aunt Wang's granddaughter's full moon banquet. Aunt Wang's brother already has a child. This is too fast." Fang Yaxian smiled and replied, "Yes. I was also surprised when I received the call. When you were in college, Aunt Wang's son had just gotten married. At that time, I sent you to school, and your father and I happened to attend her son's wedding. I didn't expect that the baby is already a month old now. I'm a sophomore now, and it's about time. Aunt Wang's family has given birth to a little granddaughter. They must be very happy, right?" Su Shihan had just become a mother. Knowing that there was a baby in the family, her family must be very happy. Fang Yaxian said cheerfully, "Happy. Your Aunt Wan called me the other day and talked to me for more than half an hour. We had a great time. But she said that her son and daughter-in-law spent a year preparing for pregnancy and used many methods to get pregnant. Her daughter-in-law is 3 years older than her son. It's probably because she's older and it's harder for her to get pregnant. So this time they have a baby, and the whole family is very happy." Fang Yaxian was chatting with her daughter when she suddenly remembered the birth certificate she had accidentally seen in the hospital today. She also thought of what she had just said and said quickly, "But daughter, I don't think it's urgent for girls to have children. Although your Aunt Wang's daughter-in-law got married a little late, she still wants to have a baby, right? So, there's still time for these things. Daughter, you are just a sophomore now, don't think about dating. You should focus on your studies at this stage. By the way, you are not dating in school, right?" Su Shihan glanced at Qin Lang beside her with a guilty look, biting her lower lip, and said shyly, "Mom, what are you talking about?" Fang Yaxian thought her daughter was shy, and she was relieved. She said, "Har har, daughter, Mom is just telling you something. You don't have to be embarrassed. After all, you are an adult now. It's normal for us to talk about these things. Mom is concerned about you, daughter. You are still young, so you must think carefully about love. I saw a news story a while ago about a freshman girl who had been spoiled by her parents since she was a child. Suddenly, she went to a university far away. Without her parents around, she soon fell in love with a boy at school. She gave birth to a baby in her sophomore year and even dropped out of school because of this. After getting pregnant, the girl stayed at home to concentrate on waiting for the baby. After giving birth, she had even less time to go back to school. She became a full-time wife and took care of the child, but her husband was still in school. When she got through the most difficult 2 years, her husband also graduated. At the time, everyone was young and naive. When her husband started working and met other girls, he turned around and disliked his wife for not graduating from college and only caring about the children all day long. He soon cheated on her. Chapter 026. We should get married earlier. The two even went to court to fight for custody of the child. The girl didn't graduate from college and had been a housewife for 3 years without any source of income. The result was predictable. Not only did they get divorced, but the child was also taken away by the other party. Moreover, her husband had just started working, and the two had no joint property. In the end, they were left with nothing. It was so miserable. Fang Yaxian couldn't help but sigh when she thought of the news. Su Shihan said, "Mom, I understand these things. I won't do them, don't worry. Well, Mom knows that you have been smart and independent since you were young, and you will definitely not do such a thing," Fang Yaxian said with a smile. Their daughter has been a top student since she was young. She and her husband rarely worry about her studies or life. The two chatted for a few more sentences. Su Shihan asked her mother to take good care of herself in Zhonghai, and then hung up the phone. Qin Lang was always by her side, and he could hear everything Fang Yaxian said on the phone clearly. Seeing that Su Shihan was a little depressed, Qin Lang gently held her hand, and said with a soft but firm look, "Shihan, don't worry, I am not the man in the news, and you are not that girl. I will not abandon you and the babies. I am different from him." Su Shihan was depressed because she was a little confused about the future. Sooner or later, her parents would know that she had a child, and she was worried about her parents' attitude after they knew it. She didn't take the last piece of news her mother told her to heart. Because even if she is taking care of the children at home, she will not give up her studies. She will move forward with her husband and will not put all the responsibility of taking care of the family on her husband's shoulders. She will share the pressure of life with her husband. Build their little home with my husband. She didn't expect Qin Lang to say this to her suddenly, which made her feel more at ease. Su Shihan has good taste, and the men she chooses are great. She nodded to Qin Lang. "Well, I believe you." Fang Yaxian hung up the phone with her daughter and immediately called Su's father. "How is it? Have you seen your daughter? Why didn't you send me a video? Why did you call me? I can't see my daughter." Dad, Su said anxiously. "No need for video. I haven't seen my baby daughter. I just talked to her on the phone. I came at such an unfortunate time. She was sent by the school to the ancient capital Jietong University for academic exchange. She just left yesterday and will not be back for a week. I'm afraid I won't be able to see her this time, Fang Yaxian said disappointedly. When Father Su heard this, he thought for a moment and said, "This is a good thing. Jiaotong University is a good school. Our daughter can represent the school to go there for exchange in her sophomore year. This shows that our daughter is amazing. And a week is not long. You can just wait for your daughter to come back at Zhonghai." There was a hint of pride in his tone. "It's fine with me. I'm willing to wait a month, not to mention a week, to see my daughter. But is it okay with you? Who will take care of you when I'm not home?" Father Su smiled and said, "How can a grown man like me starve to death at home? Don't worry, I'll have lunch at the company and go home to eat some instant noodles or go to a restaurant at night. It's no problem. It must be very hard for my daughter to be alone in college. When you go there this time, take her to eat something good and wait for her to come back." Fang Yaxian nodded and agreed, "Okay, I'll send you a video when my daughter comes back." After Fang Yaxian finished talking with her husband, she immediately sent a WeChat message to her daughter saying that she was waiting for her to come back. When Su Shihan saw this WeChat message, her eyebrows slightly frowned. The 1-week academic exchange was something she had made up on the spur of the moment. Now her mother said she had to wait for a week in Zhonghai until she could see her. She could no longer find excuses to refuse to see her mother. If she did, her mother would find something wrong. A week later, it had been 18 days since she gave birth. She was young, and Qin Lang had been taking good care of her since she gave birth. Now she was recuperating in the confinement center, so her body recovered quickly. In the past 2 days, she could obviously feel a lot more relaxed. Besides, it is May now and the weather in Zhonghai is getting hot. The daytime temperature is close to 30 degrees. As long as she is a little careful, she can go out. The most important thing is that if she doesn't see her mother again, her mother will really become suspicious. When the time comes, my mom will go to the school to ask about the situation, and after further investigation, she will definitely find out that she is pregnant. So, Su Shihan replied, "Okay, Mom, then you can have fun in Zhonghai for the next few days and wait for me to come back." At dinner time, Qin Lang and Su Shihan sat face to face at the dining table. Since the phone call, they tacitly agreed not to mention the matter, but Qin Lang knew that this issue could not be avoided. The child had already been born, and they had to face the parents and confess the situation. Su Shihan didn't mention it because as a girl she would definitely be afraid, but as the head of the family, he had to shoulder this responsibility. He spent the past few hours organizing his thoughts. Now it was time to have a good chat with Su Shihan about the future of them and their babies. After all, today his parents and Su Shihan's mother almost discovered the baby's matter. Instead of passively surprising his parents, it would be better to take the initiative to tell them. After Qin Lang thought it through, he said to Su Shihan, "Shihan, let's talk." "Qin Lang, let's talk." The two spoke almost in unison. Su Shihan raised her head and smiled at Qin Lang. In fact, after talking to her mother on the phone, she was very confused and kept thinking about this problem. But I didn't expect that although Qin Lang didn't say it, he was also seriously considering these things. "You speak first," Qin Lang said. "You should speak first." "No, let me speak first." Su Shihan pinched her fingers nervously. She lowered her head and subconsciously bit her lips slightly. Qin Lang discovered that she would do this whenever she was nervous. He stretched out his hand, and with his warm and somewhat rough fingertips he smoothed her pink lips, and said with a smile, "Shihan, we are discussing, so if you have any questions, just talk it out. Don't abuse your mouth. If you do this, I will feel bad." Su Shihan's cheeks turned slightly red when she heard this. She pursed her lips and licked them gently. There was a subtle taste on the tip of her tongue, which was the scent of the food that Qin Lang left on his fingertips. She calmed herself down and said, "Qin Lang, I think it's better to keep our affairs and the baby's affairs a secret from my parents. My parents have always been against me dating in college and hope that I can focus on my studies. As for having children, they are even less likely to accept it." After listening to her thoughts, Qin Lang frowned slightly and said, "Shihan, I understand what uncle and aunt think, but I think this matter should not be kept secret. We are already adults, and the babies are born. They have come into this world legitimately, and there is nothing to hide. Whether it's love or babies, everything should be open and above board. But my parents." Qin Lang held Su Shihan's hand and said firmly, "Shihan, no matter what difficulties you encounter, I will face them with you, and we will overcome them together as a family. Shihan, ever since you came to me that day and told me that the child was mine, I have made up my mind that I will be responsible for you and the babies to the end. I want to marry you and raise the babies with you. Chapter 27, Finalizing the date for visiting my mother-in-law's house. It was the first time that Su Shihan heard Qin Lang say so bluntly that he wanted to marry her. She looked up in astonishment and looked at Qin Lang in shock. After meeting Qin Lang's gaze, two shy blushes instantly crept up her cheeks, making her feel hot all over. She bit her lip and asked, Qin Lang, are we really going to get married? Qin Lang smiled, staring at her with his handsome eyes, and said half-jokingly, Shihan, we both already have 3 babies, and you're not planning to marry me yet. Are you planning to abandon me in the end? I didn't. Su Shihan quickly denied. That's good. We must get married. The babies need a legitimate identity and a complete family. A dad and a mom are both indispensable. Qin Lang said firmly. Su Shihan's chest shook slightly, and a wonderful feeling spread in her heart. The warm breath made her excited. Qin Lang held her hand and said, Shihan, don't worry, I will be a responsible father and a responsible husband. I will handle the problems with my parents. Su Shihan nodded slowly and said, then can you wait a little longer? The babies are still young, and my physical condition doesn't allow it. I'll take you and the babies back to meet my parents during the summer vacation, okay? Qin Lang thought it was okay and nodded, okay. Su Shihan is still in confinement after childbirth. It is indeed inappropriate for her to face these things at this time. It will affect her mood and then her physical recovery. Su Shihan added, my mother said she would wait for me here for a week. Qin Lang, after a week, I want to go see my mother alone. After a week, you will have rested for almost 20 days, and the weather has been good recently. It's fine for you to go out and see your aunt. If you don't want me to go with you, then you have to promise me to take good care of yourself and don't get too tired. These are very important during confinement. Su Shihan nodded obediently, okay Tilda. Seeing her like that, Qin Lang couldn't help but reach out and rub her furry little head, and said with a smile, eat quickly. In the evening, Qin Lang received a call from his father. Father Qin wanted to verify his wife's guess during the day, so he asked, son, what are you doing? Nothing, I'm just resting. Dad, didn't mom call you during the day? Why did you call you again at night? Is there something wrong? Qin Lang asked. Qin's father immediately said, it's okay. Your mother and I are fine. I was not at home when your mother called you during the day, and she insisted that I call you again at night. By the way, son, your mother said today that you seemed to be in love at school. Is this true? When Qin Lang heard this, he guessed that it was his attitude today that made his mother suspicious, and his father probably wanted to find out the news. But he had just agreed with Su Shihan in the evening that he would tell the parents during the summer vacation. Therefore, Qin Lang could only evade this question. Dad, are you guys anxious? Other people's parents urge their children to get married after they graduate from college. I'm just a sophomore now. Why are you urging me? It's too early. I know my cousin is getting married, and you and mom must be envious of my aunt. But we don't need to be envious. Your son will have one sooner or later. Qin Lang said half-jokingly. Little boy, how can your mother and I be envious? We are just concerned about your personal situation. Qin's father said with a smile. I'm fine, Dad. You and mom should go out for a walk more often. Our son is grown up now. You should take advantage of this time to spend more time with him and his wife. Otherwise, you won't have time to take care of your grandchildren in the future. Cherish the present, Dad. You're just a chatterbox. Your mom and I are an old married couple. Why would we still want to live in a world of our own? The father and son joked around for a while, but Qin Lang changed the subject without leaving any trace. Father Qin hung up the phone, laughed and said, this brat must be in trouble. He was secretly excited and called Qin's mother over, wife, transfer 5,000 yuan to our son. If he asks, just say that our business is good recently and this is a red envelope for him. When Qin's mother heard this, she asked excitedly, old Qin, you gave money to your son. Did your son just say something to you? Father Qin shook his head. He didn't say anything, but when I asked him, he tried to change the subject. I think this is probably true. As Father Qin was talking, he couldn't help laughing. The next day, just as Su Shihan was about to take a break after lunch, Lin Xiao called. "Hello, Shihan, are you okay?" As soon as the call was connected, Lin Xiao on the other end asked something out of the blue. Su Shihan asked doubtfully, "What's wrong with me?" "Xiao Xiao, I'm in the confinement center, I'm fine." "Are? Don't you know that Aunt Fang is coming to Zhonghai?" Lin Xiao asked. Su Shihan sobered up a little, sat up and asked, "How did you know my mother was here?" "I just received a call from my mother, saying that Aunt Fang came to Zhonghai and would come to my house for dinner tonight. My mother asked me to go home to accompany her. As soon as I hung up the phone, I thought of Aunt Fang coming to Zhonghai. I didn't know what the situation was like over there, so I called you immediately." "From your tone, do you know that Aunt Fang came to Zhonghai?" "Yeah, I know. My mother came to school to find me yesterday," Su Shihan said. Lin Xiao lowered her voice, "No way. Auntie went to school to find you, so does Auntie know about your situation?" "No, my mom came to the dormitory to look for me. My roommates happened to be out for dinner, so I told my mom that I was sent by the school to the ancient capital for academic exchange and would be back in a week. When you see my mom in the evening, don't let her slip." Lin Xiao breathed a sigh of relief and said, "It's good that no one found out. Don't worry, I won't let anything slip. But Shihan, now that the babies are born, uncle and aunt will find out sooner or later. You can't stay away from home every holiday. We have to find a way to solve this problem." Su Shihan said, "I know, Qin Lang and I talked about it last night." As she spoke, she told Lin Xiao the results of her discussion with Qin Lang last night. After listening to this, Lin Xiao couldn't help but say, "It seems that Qin Lang is quite responsible." "Hey Tilda, if that's the case, then you're going to get married to Qin Lang soon. I'm going to be the bridesmaid." Lin Xiao on the other end of the phone gradually became excited. Su Shihan couldn't help but feel shy. She looked at Qin Lang in the study and said in a low voice, "Xiao Xiao. Qin Lang and I haven't discussed this matter in detail yet, Tilda. Tilda, your Qin Lang has said that he will take responsibility and has made it clear that he wants to get married. Isn't this a done deal? Shihan, you are getting married soon. How do you feel about it? To be honest, your Qin Lang is really handsome. You will definitely be very happy in the future with such a handsome husband. Moreover, Qin Lang made you pregnant with 3 little babies in one night, so your sexual happiness must be." Tilda.